Chapter 6890. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the fruit on the table, with a hint of confusion in her eyes. Ever since she went to the realm of chaotic immortals, she had read through the Encyclopedia of Plants, but there was no introduction to the fruit in front of her. Most importantly, the fox said that eating this fruit could increase one's origin power? When the fox saw Bailey Hongzhuang's suspicious expression, it thought that she was looking down on the fruit, so it said embarrassedly, "The lion ate all the good things in the surroundings
Chapter
in order to achieve a breakthrough. She looks
If we
very
want to find
similar
other
to your
things,
ape clan.
we'll have to go
Why
somewhere
can't she be a
further
branch
away.
of your clan?
Don't worry,
A
we'll go
demonic
look for them
beast's voice
tomorrow.
rang out.
You can eat
Bailey
this today."
Hongzhuang then noticed
Bailey
that the
Hongzhuang
demonic
understood
beasts
that
behind
the
them
fox had
were not just
misunderstood
the
her
fox
expression.
and the rest. She
There
immediately
were other
smiled
demonic
and said,
beasts as well.
"How could that be?
If having two
It's
hands
already
and
very
two
good.
legs means she's
You
a
can
branch of our
continue
ape
making
clan,
clothes for us
then
after
wouldn't there
you're
be
done
too
eating.
many branches of
We'll
our
go look
ape
for more
clan?
later."
The
It's not
long-armed
that far
demon
away
ape was
anyway.
very certain.
All right, thank
It
you.
looked coldly at
After
Bailey
saying
Hongzhuang.
that, the three
Hurry
demon
up and
beasts
tell us.
went out of the
What
cave.
are you plotting?
See, I
Bailey
was right,
Hongzhuang
right?
frowned.
That white fellow
What could I
is
be
definitely
plotting?
not human.
I was just staying
Otherwise,
here,
she
and
would
you
have run
suddenly
away.
came looking
The
for
fox
me.
had a look
You
of
even asked
certainty
me
on
what
its
I was
face.
plotting.
The
I
lion
should
nodded.
be the one asking you.
It seems like she
Stop
really isn't
quibbling.
human. The
It's a
long-armed
pity.
demon ape
It's
ignored
rare
her.
to see someone who
You
looks
can't
so
use
much
the name
like
of
a
our
human.
ape clan.
I think we
In
should
the
go
next
look for
moment,
other fruits.
The long-armed
These clothes
demon
look
ape
very
looked at
pretty.
the other demonic
The
beasts.
rock's attention was
I
focused
can
on the
guarantee
fox's
that our
clothes.
ape clan doesn't
It
have
had
such
never
a branch.
seen such a beautiful
She's not
color
a member
before.
of our ape clan.
Bailey Hongzhuang,
Xiaohei,
who was at
Xiaohei.
the side,
You should
also
at least go
secretly
further
cursed in
away
her
if you want to
heart.
talk behind
What she was
people's
afraid
backs.
of really happened.
Instead of standing
She was
at the
worried
door,
that this fellow
you
would
might as well
expose them,
say it in front
and
of
it
them.
just had to happen.
What are you trying to do?
In this confrontation,
Xiaohei
they had
heaved a sigh of
obviously
relief.
lost.
Fortunately,
If she's not a
they
member
didn't
of
leave
your ape
just
clan,
now.
then what
Otherwise,
kind
things
of demonic
would be difficult.
beast is she?
The three of
The
them were
demonic
stupid,
beasts were
but
also
they weren't
confused.
brainless.
In terms
After
of
the three of
appearance,
them were relieved,
this white fellow
they
was
went
the
to
most
look for
similar
other
to the
food.
ape clan.
Bailey Hongzhuang,
If she wasn't a
and
member of the
Xiaohei
ape
decided
clan,
to try the fruit.
then what kind of clan did she
Master,
belong to?
this fruit
The
shouldn't be
long-armed
poisonous,
demon
right?
ape quietly sized
Xiaohei
up
asked
Bailey
worriedly.
Hongzhuang for a moment,
Bailey Hongzhuang
then
said,
picked up the fruit.
"I think she's
As
not a
soon as she
demonic
got
beast
close,
at all.
she smelled
She's a
a strong
human."
fragrance.
As soon as
She
this was
immediately
said,
felt refreshed.
the demonic beasts
She immediately
presently
smiled
changed
and
their
said,
expressions.
"Don't worry,
From
this
the
thing is
beginning,
not poisonous."
they felt that
and
this
it should
white
be
fellow
something
looked
good.
very much like a human.
Upon hearing this,
However,
Xiaohei's
after
interest
being
was piqued.
emphasized that she
She
was
took a
from the
fruit
ape
and
clan,
stuffed it into her
they
mouth,
did not continue
disregarding
to think in
everything
this
else.
direction. This
If she
fruit
really
looked
wasn't from
exquisite
the
and
ape clan,
translucent.
then she was
It had
most
wanted to
likely
try
a
it for a
human.
long time.
Master,
As
what should
soon
we
as
do?
the fruit entered her
Xiaohei
mouth,
panicked.
the fragrance
She did
of the
not
fruit
forget
spread
that the
throughout her
fox
mouth,
and the rest
and
had
wanted
wanted
to
to
eat
eat
her
her
master
through her
directly.
body.
When they thought
Bailey
she was a
Hongzhuang
human,
was shocked to
if
find
they were
that Fox was
discovered now,
telling the truth.
the consequences
fruit
would be
could
even
actually
worse.
increase one's
Bailey
essence
Hongzhuang
energy,
also
and by
understood
quite a bit.
that she could not continue
Must.
to remain
Master,
silent like
what fruit
this.
is this?
Otherwise,
It's so
the
delicious.
situation would become worse and worse.
Xiaohei's face was
Fox
filled
and
with
the others
excitement
also looked at
as she
Bailey
picked up the
Hongzhuang
fruit
in
with her
confusion.
claws.
Until
This fruit
now,
is really
she
amazing.
had not defended herself
Bailey
at all.
saw you quarreling
Could it
with
be
my
what
sister
Fox had said before?
Although
Just
I
as
was
judging
judging
from
from
the
the
disdainful
disdainful
expression on
Bailey
Fox's
at that
face,
time,
voice
it
suddenly
was
rang
because you
out.
took a fancy to my
I remember
sister.
now meant that there
But
were
she
other
doesn't
fruits
like
here.
you.
Looked at the
So you
long-armed
chased us
demon
out of
with
the essence
excitement.
energy.
There was
Bailey's
even a
tone
hint
of
of
anger
anger in
in
her
her
eyes
eyes
as she
natural
glared at the
treasures
long-armed
you
chaotic
chaotic
immortal
like
realm.
an enemy.
Long-armed demon
But this
if it
kind of
wasn't
fruit
fruit
that
that
could
could
increase
increase
one's
one's
essence
energy
energy
was
place.
really
Your
rare.
name is
Now you
Ironbark,
actually
right?
dared to say
The
such
long-armed
things.
demon
Could it be that it's not
done?
enough to chase
This
us
was
out?
indeed its power.
To kill us
But
all?
how
It's
did
not
this guy
something
know?
that human cultivators could accept. However, this fruit could.
Chapter
Not only
6906.
was the essence energy
Xiaohei
extremely
watched
rich,
her master's
it was
performance
also very
from the side,
gentle,
and
it was
instantly
not
gasped
harmful
in
to the
amazement.
human body.
Usually,
This was a treasure
Master
that
had
could
always
increase
solved
one's
problems
strength
with her fists
and never spoke much nonsense.
Chapter 6891.
She didn't expect her acting
Looking at
skills
the
to
fruit
be
in her
first
hand.
class as well.
Bailey
If it
Hongzhuang
wasn't
felt a
clear
little more
about the
hopeful
ins and
about
outs
this
of the
place.
entire matter,
She had thought
it
that
would
she
have
was
thought
unlucky
that this
to have come
long-armed
to a
demon
place
ape
like
was
this,
an
where she
unpardonable
could not
beast.
even be a human.
Sure enough,
and could only
after
be
the
a
crowd
beast.
of demonic beasts
She never
heard
thought
Bailey
that the heavens
Hongzhuang's
would give her such a
accusation,
pleasant surprise.
their initial suspicions
It was very
immediately
difficult for her
dissipated
to raise her
and was
cultivation
replaced by
level
a thick
now.
sense of
The
indignation.
amount of elemental
Brother
energy
ape,
that she
I
absorbed
really
from
didn't
cultivating
expect
for
you
a
to be
few
such a
days
person. intuition was not even comparable to eating a fruit. Although the fruits in front of her were casually plucked, how could it have made a wrong judgment? There was still a lot of them. Definitely it was enough to increase her pay, and Xiaohei's elemental energy by quite a bit. The lion's face was full of disdain. And the rest came here as well. It originally didn't want this white fellow to leave, curled up slightly, and now that it knew the ins and outs of the treasures in this place, it didn't need to say anything more. Perhaps everyone's cultivation level would improve by quite a bit. Didn't come here with good intentions. Xiaohei could not help but chuckle. Who usually didn't have any dealings with had actually about the male with such thoughts. After Bailey Hongzhuang immediately jumped out and Xiaohei ate all the fruits, in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. were full.
You bastard!
Although the fruits
how dare you
increased
bully
their
this
elemental
white fellow?
energy, I'll kill
it
you.
was still quite good
Bailey
at filling their
Hongzhuang
stomachs.
looked at the three funny
if I could
demonic
live in this
beasts
place,
blocking in front
I would
of
be
her,
so blessed,
and felt a little touched
Xiao
in
He
her
rubbed
heart.
his round belly
Her words
and
were
sighed to
actually
the
made
sky.
up.
Her
The
biggest
main
wish
thing
was
to
that
rely
other
on
than this,
eating to increase
she couldn't
her strength.
think of any other reason.
She had thought that it
Of
was
course,
just a pipe
she
dream.
still felt very
She did
guilty
not think
towards
that
Yang
such a place
Qinxue.
really
If she
existed
knew
in this
that she
world.
had mysteriously
She was
given her
simply
this
too
identity.
blessed.
Bailey
She didn't know what
Hongzhuang
kind of
glanced at
expression
Xiao
she would have.
who was about to fall
I
asleep
really
after
didn't
eating.
expect the long-armed
Then she turned
demon
her
ape
attention
to be
to
so
the
shameless.
clothes.
She
She
had
bullied
already
such a
made up
small
her
fellow.
mind to build
I've
a good
long disliked
relationship
this fellow.
with these three fellows.
Look at him.
Before she
One
could
look,
continue
and I
to
can
stay
tell
in
that
this
he's not a
place.
good thing.
Therefore, the
We've
clothes
always
had
had
to be
very
made.
little dealings
After
with the
making
ape
the
clan.
fox's clothes.
Now that I think
Bailey
about
Hongzhuang had
it's
some
really
experience.
This white
When
fellow
making
is
the
clever
lion
and
and rock's
skillful
clothes,
in making clothes
she became
for us.
more and more skilled.
All she wants is some
However,
food. The
if we
rock's
let her
wings
be
were
bullied
really a
by other
problem.
fellows, therefore
Then
she
how
could
can
only
we
dig
face
two
her?
holes.
The crowd of
Xiao
demonic
He,
beasts
who had just
instantly
woken up
stood
from
their
her
ground.
sleep,
During this
realized
period
that her
of time,
master had already
Bailey
finished
Hongzhuang
making
had
the
always
two
stayed
sets of
here,
clothes,
and they were very
immediately
familiar with her.
A look of surprise
In
appeared on
comparison,
her face.
The long-armed
Master,
devil
you're
ape
so
was
fast.
the one that had appeared
Bailey
out of nowhere.
Hongzhuang glanced at
The
the guy who
long-armed
had eaten
demon
and
ape
slept.
obviously didn't
You slept
expect
for
things
too long.
to turn out like this.
Xiao He looked at the
It was
sky
dumbfounded.
outside. Wasn't
Listen
that right?
to me.
It
was
was
almost
like that.
dawn.
I don't
Ahem.
even know her.
Xiao He
The
coughed
fox
dryly
sneered.
and changed the
You're
topic.
always thinking about
Master,
her sister.
let me see how
What's
the
so
clothes
strange
are made.
about not knowing her?
After taking a
I've
look,
never done such a
Xiao He
thing.
applauded and
Believe
praised.
me.
Lion
Master,
rolled his eyes.
your craftsmanship is
If
getting
you don't
better
even know
and
each
better.
other, although
How
it's
could
not
that
as
white
good
guy
as
say
the
your
clothes
name
in the
so
shop.
easily?
The stitches
If you
are
want to
obviously
lie,
much
you
better.
should at least say
If you
something
keep this up,
convincing.
I
Rock
believe you'll
nodded
have
in
no
agreement.
problems with needlework in the future.
That's right.
Bailey Hongzhuang
It's really
raised
not
her
like that.
eyebrows. The
Do you think
long-armed
I'll stay
demon
here
ape
and
had
make
no way
clothes?
to defend himself.
Of course not.
Almost every
I
time
wonder
he
what
said
the
a
male
word,
master and
he
Ling
would be
Feng are
directly
doing now.
rebuked by everyone.
We're making
It
clothes
was simply
here,
making things
but the
worse.
male master and
There was
Ling
almost
Feng
no
can't
need
be
for
making
Bailey
clothes.
Hongzhuang to step
Xiao
in.
He sighed.
Fox
It
had
was
already
not
let
easy to
everyone
fool
to
these
beat
demon
up the
beasts.
long-armed demon ape
Fortunately,
and drove it away.
they met these three fellows who were easy to fool. We'll ask the fox and the rest when they come
Chapter
back.
6907.
Since they think we're special,
In the situation
Bewitching
earlier,
and the rest
if it
will
wasn't his
probably
bad
meet
luck,
other demon
it would be our
beasts.
bad luck.
This news will
Do you
slowly
wish for
spread.
it to be unlucky?
Then we'll be able
or
to
for us
find
to be
them.
unlucky?
Bailey Hongzhuang raised
Chapter
her eyebrows and asked.
6892. Xiao He
When the
hurriedly
fox,
replied,
lion, and rock
Of
returned,
course it's his bad
the
luck.
three of them slowly
Bailey
walked to
Hongzhuang's
the entrance
expression
of
was
the cave.
indifferent.
Do you think
This
the
matter
white
was
guys
originally
took the chance
caused
to
by
escape
the
after we
long-armed
left
devil
for so
ape.
long?
If it didn't
The lion
come,
was a little
there wouldn't be
suspicious.
such a matter.
I heard that
If she
humans
didn't
are very
teach it a
cunning.
lesson this time,
Maybe they were
this
just trying
fellow
to
would
gain our
probably
trust.
not stop.
Rock.
But
I don't think
the ape
so.
clan was also
Didn't
a
you
big
say
clan.
that they weren't humans?
If she could silence the
Lion.
long-armed devil ape
Why are
this
you so
time,
stupid?
it would be best.
Don't tell me they don't
when
know
it
how to
returned.
lie.
She
Fox.
could only hope that there
No
wouldn't
matter
be
how
any more
cunning
problems
humans
for
are,
the time
can
being.
they be more cunning
With
than us
regards to the
foxes?
following
Don't
situation,
worry.
those two
Bailey
white guys look
Hongzhuang
very
was also
stupid.
unable to
They
determine.
definitely don't have
The
such
only thing
brains.
she could do now
Xiao
was
He.
to raise her
Here
cultivation
we go again,
as quickly
talking
as
bad
possible.
about us at the entrance
Otherwise,
again.
they could
Bailey
only cover
Hongzhuang,
up their lies again
where
and
did
again.
these three
There
fellows
would be
get
a
the
day when the
confidence
paper
to think
couldn't
that they
wrap
were
the
very
fire.
smart?
Just as
Furthermore,
Bailey Hongzhuang
they were
was
already
pondering,
at the entrance.
the fox and the
Wouldn't
rest
they
had
know if
already
they ran
walked
or
back.
not with just one
White
look?
fellow,
What
we've
the hell
already
was he
helped you
thinking?
to teach him a lesson.
Master,
In the
they
future,
actually called us
he
stupid.
definitely won't
They
dare
are
to find
obviously
trouble
the stupid
with you.
ones.
If he dares to
Xiao
come
He said
again,
angrily.
we'll directly
Not only
make
did
sure
they
that he
scold
won't
it,
be able to
they
return.
even scolded its master.
The fox acted
Bailey
cockily in front
Hongzhuang.
of Bailey Hongzhuang.
Don't lower yourself
as if
to
it was
the level of
presenting a
stupid
treasure.
people.
Actually,
When the fox turned
this
around
fellow
and
just
saw
looks
Bailey
scary.
Hongzhuang
As for
and
his
Xiao He
strength,
looking at them,
it's nothing much.
It didn't look embarrassed
Bailey
at all.
Hongzhuang looked
Instead,
at the three
it
fellows
was
in front
extremely
of her,
proud,
and the
How is
smile
it?
in her eyes
I told
gradually
you,
deepened.
they are definitely
This
not
time,
as smart
thank
as
you
me.
all.
Although she
Lion.
had always hidden
That's
the
right,
fact
we are still
that
the
she was from the
smartest.
human race from
Rock.
the three demonic
That's
beasts.
right, that's right.
She had
Bailey
really treated
Hongzhuang.
these three fellows as
She
her
didn't
friends.
want to talk to these
If it
three
wasn't
fellows
for these
anymore.
3 fellows.
The fox
She
placed
didn't
the
know what
fruits
her
they
current
found on the
situation
table.
would be like.
Only then did they
Seeing
realize
Bailey
that the fruits
Hongzhuang's
they
suddenly
found
being
before
so
were all
serious.
eaten.
Only
Only
the
the demonic
core was left at
beasts
the
were a
side.
little unaccustomed
These
to
are
it
the new
and
fruits we
smiled as they
found.
scratched their
These
heads
fruits
and
taste
left
better
first.
than the ones we
Bailey
found before.
Hongzhuang raised her
And they
eyebrows.
can increase our
She didn't
elemental
think
energy
that these
more.
3 fellows
Have
would
a
be
taste,
embarrassed,
the fox said
However,
with a smile.
This thought
At this
only
time,
disappeared when
she
these
did
3
not
fellows
forget to
stopped
turn
at the
around to
door.
show off her new
Almost
clothes.
as soon as she saw
Bailey
this action,
Hongzhuang looked at the
Bailey
table.
Hongzhuang knew
The
that
fruits
the
were
trick
very
of deceiving
fresh,
one's ears
and there were still
and
morning
stealing
dew
a
on
bell
them.
was really coming.
These fruits were twice as big as the ones they
demonic
ate yesterday.
in this area
The
did not
fragrance
use
it
their
emitted
brains.
was unusually strong.
Otherwise,
Even if it was
fellows
just
would
a
not
sniff
have
from a
survived
close
until
distance,
now.
the
It
fox
would make
said.
one feel relaxed
Don't let
and
those
happy.
apes come over in
Xiao
the
He
future.
looked at the newly
I'm
plucked
afraid those
fruit with
guys aren't good
anticipation.
people.
This
Lion
fruit looked even more
Can't you
tempting
see
than
that the white
yesterday's.
guy is about to
Bailey
cry today?
Hongzhuang was not in
Thinking
a
about
hurry
it,
to eat.
his background
Instead,
is really pitiful.
She took out the clothes she
Rock.
had made. Don't say
Lion
anymore,
Rock,
I'm
I've
about
made
to
your
cry.
clothes.
Fox,
Do you want to try
I
them
want to
on?
cry too.
Lion and Rock have been looking around for their clothes.
You
ever
guys are
since
so
they came
affectionate.
back.
Xiao He
Yesterday,
came over.
the fox went out
Master,
wearing this set
I didn't
of clothes.
expect these three
As
fellows
long
to
as
be
it
so
encountered a
sympathetic.
demonic beast on the road, it would be questioned.
Bailey
That kind of
Hongzhuang.
appearance was
But I
very
don't need
eye-catching.
sympathy.
Usually,
Xiao He,
when the three of them went
that's
out,
true.
everyone
After
would
seeing
chat
the
for
three
a bit.
guys leave in tears.
But
Bailey
now, when they
Hongzhuang's
went
heart
out, was a little
all the
embarrassed.
demonic beasts they
After
encountered
all,
were focused
she
on
really
the
had
fox.
been deceiving their
They didn't
feelings.
have time to talk
She
to
just
them at
didn't
all.
know if they would be
Needless
very
to say,
angry if
it
they
was
knew
very
the truth when
depressing.
they left.
When they heard
She
the white
really
guy's
didn't want to
words,
think about that
they
situation.
were overjoyed,
and
Xiao He
immediately
was a
ran
little
over.
surprised when
Okay,
Bailey
okay.
Hongzhuang
Bailey
suddenly started
Hongzhuang
to
handed
cook.
the clothes to Lion and
Master,
Rock.
could it
Try
be
it
that
on
you're
to see if
tired
it
of
fits?
eating fruits recently?
If it doesn't, I'll
So
change
you want
it
to
again.
change your taste?
Actually, I also feel that
Chapter
it's boring to eat this all
6893.
day.
Finally,
I miss my pig
the
trotters.
Lion and Rock
also
Bailey
put on the bright
Hongzhuang
red
glanced at
clothes.
Xiao He, who was
Even though
drooling.
the clothes were
It's
made
not
by
for
her,
you.
Bailey Hongzhuang still couldn't help but cover her eyes when she saw them.
Chapter
These two fellows really
6908.
stung her eyes.
Bailey Hongzhuang
However,
did not
the
say a
Lion
word,
and Rock didn't
but
seem to
continued
notice
to
at
take
all.
out the best
After
ingredients.
putting on the clothes,
Compared to
they
making
only
clothes,
felt that they were
she was
really
much
too
better
good
at
looking
making food,
and excitedly
ever since
walked
she
around
came
in
to this
circles.
place.
She
The
could
Lion,
not help but be
Fox,
thankful
do I
that
look
she had
good?
brought enough
The
things.
Fox,
When they
yes.
were in the
The
abandoned
Rock.
immortal forest.
What about me? What about
Not
me?
only did they buy
The
a lot of
Fox.
clothes,
You look good
they also
too.
bought a lot of
Ha ha ha.
furniture,
The three demon
ingredients, and
beasts
so
looked
on.
at each other.
It could be said that they had everything
this
they
was
needed.
the pinnacle of
The
their
space
lives.
in the chaos ring was
Later,
big enough
when
to
we go
store
out
all
dressed
these
like
things.
this,
So
the
she
other
had never
fellows
thought
will
of
definitely
taking them
be
out.
envious of us.
This
Ha ha.
time they came in
The
handy.
Fox laughed proudly.
Otherwise, the
It would
Lion
not be
nodded.
easy to do well
Think
in this
about
place.
those fellows.
She
They
did
don't
not
even
know what
have
these
clothes.
three fellows like to
How can
eat,
they compete
but
with us
from the
in
way
the
they
future?
ate on a daily
Bailey
basis,
Hongzhuang looked
they
at
should
the
be
three
quite
beasts
big
who were
eaters.
extremely happy.
After she was done,
and the corners
Bailey
of her mouth
Hongzhuang
twitched
looked
at the food
slightly.
in front of her
When she
and
thought
said
about how the
thoughtfully,
intelligence
I hope
of these
they like
three
it.
fellows had
Xiao
broken
He
through
was
the
already
elementary
drooling,
immortal stage,
and when she heard this,
if the people
she
of the
suddenly
immortal
felt that
domain
her
of
life
chaos
had turned
knew
dark.
about this.
Master,
They probably
aren't you
couldn't
being
help
too
but
biased?
vomit blood.
I'm going to cry
The
to
Rock
Xiao
leaned
Bai.
in front of Bailey
If he can
Hongzhuang.
find it. White
You
fellow,
can eat with us later.
why are you covering
Bailey
your eyes?
Hongzhuang shook
Is
her
it
head
because
helplessly.
we're too good looking?
Who knew how
and
much
you're
food
afraid
this
that you'll
fellow's
be
stomach could
mesmerized
hold?
by us if
Her
you take
appetite
one more
was
look?
really shocking.
Bailey Hongzhuang's
However,
expression
you
was
should go and
complicated.
invite them over first.
That's right, that's
I'll
it.
go now.
Xiao He ran to the
Master,
fox's
you don't mean
residence
what
as
you say.
fast as he could
Bailey
on a daily
Hongzhuang.
basis.
I
Only
don't
when
want
they
to
came
either.
quickly could he eat
White
delicious
fellow,
food.
you're really amazing.
When the fox and the
These
rest
clothes
were
are really
invited over by
beautiful.
Xiao He,
We love it
they
so
were
much.
very puzzled. The fox
Because
looked at
Xiao
Bailey
He
said
said
that
Hongzhuang
Bai had
with a
prepared
smile.
delicious food for
Or
them.
were you planning to
They
go?
had seen the fruits
I think
that
you
the
should
demon
stay with
beast
us
sent
for a while.
over every day.
What do you think?
Of course, they
Actually,
could not help but
it's my
steal
first
a few
time
of them.
traveling so
However,
far away.
they had eaten
I
these
originally
fruits
had
before.
brothers and sisters.
Could it be that Bai
but
had
we got
received
separated
fruits
and
that they
still
had not
haven't
eaten
found them?
before? Bailey
Bai,
Hongzhuang
what
looked
delicious
distressed.
food have you prepared
Hearing
for
this,
us?
The
three
three
fellows'
fellows
voice
immediately
rang out from
gathered
afar.
around with
However,
curiosity written
before
all
they
over
entered
their
the
faces.
cave,
They could
White
already
guy,
smell
you
the
have
rich
brothers
fragrance.
and sisters.
The lion's
Bailey
nose
Hongzhuang
twitched and
nodded
his eyes were
slightly.
filled with
I
curiosity.
have two brothers and one sister.
What is this smell?
I went out with
It
them
smells
this
so
time.
good, but I didn't
The Rock
expect
also
to get
widened his
separated.
eyes.
Fortunately,
What fruit is
I
this?
met you.
It was
Otherwise,
too fragrant.
I wouldn't even have
I've never
a place
smelled
to
it.
stay.
Lion,
I'll go in and take
then
a look.
why are you going
the
on a
fox's
long
appetite
journey?
had long been
Bailey
aroused,
Hongzhuang said.
and it quickly rushed
We just
inside.
wanted to take a look.
Lion and Rock didn't want to
sighed.
fall behind either.
I knew that the apes
They
are a
rushed
bunch of
over like
idiots.
crazy.
They can't
Xiao
even
He
find
only
their
felt a
brothers
few
and
whirlwinds
sisters
when they
pass
go
by
out
before the three
How
guys
stupid.
beside her
Bailey
disappeared.
Hongzhuang. Demonic
Fox,
beasts at the
don't laugh
elementary
at her.
immortal stage are
Bailey
really fast.
Hongzhuang turned her eyes,
looking at the three
Sure
beasts
enough,
that appeared.
a fox
Bailey
was more
Hongzhuang
pleasing to the
didn't say
eye.
anything.
Fox said,
Instead,
look at how weak
she
she
found
is.
that the three
You
beasts
can tell
were
she's
sitting
not that
directly
smart.
around the table.
Bailey
and sitting
Hongzhuang.
down on the stone
Just
stools.
pretend I didn't say
Three
anything.
pairs of eyes stared fixedly at the
In this
delicious
way,
food on
Bailey
the table.
Hongzhuang and
Their
Xiao He
eyes
looked
filled
at the
with
three guys,
anticipation,
constantly
White guy,
disdaining
what's
their
this?
IQ.
Rock
The most
asked
important
excitedly
thing was that they had
Idiot,
already
this is
said
a
so
fish.
much. In the end, did they have the slightest
don't even
intention to
recognize
help
a
fish?
fish.
After a while, the lion said,
disdain.
"White guy,
don't
felt
worry.
wronged. You all look
I know
so
it's
special.
fish,
But
it's
if they're
not
nearby,
like this when we eat
we'll
fish.
definitely find them.
The fish they eat
We'll
are
go
either
visit
raw,
our friends
boiled,
later
or roasted,
and ask
but
them
the
to
fish
keep an
in
eye
front
out
of
for
us
you,
is obviously
so that we can
different.
help you find
The
them
lion
sooner."
nodded.
That's
With that,
true. The lion touched his clothes again, unable to hide the joy in his eyes. Chapter 6909. After hearing Bailey Hongzhuang say that all
after
this was to
enduring the
reward
disdain
them,
of the three fellows,
the three beasts were
they finally
unusually
decided
excited
to visit the
Are
nearby
all these
area
for us to eat?
and ask about
Bailey Hongzhuang
Bewitching
nodded
and the rest.
slightly.
Of
Bailey
course,
Hongzhuang heaved a
Rock
sigh
could
of
not
relief.
wait any longer.
These three
After
fellows had
hearing
better
this,
leave quickly.
it immediately lifted
Otherwise
the
she would
plate
be angered
and
to
stuffed
death
a
by
plate
them.
of fish into
One
its
look,
mouth.
and you can tell
As
that
soon
the
as it
white
ate,
fellow is too
its
weak,
eyes immediately
and her
widened
family is
in
poor.
surprise.
Look at the
So-
fruits we left
so
behind
delicious.
yesterday. The fox and lion did not expect Rock to eat so quickly. Think about how pitiful she is. Before they could say anything, the fox had a sympathetic look on its face. Had already been eaten. The lion nodded in agreement. You're eating too quickly. Her brother and sister probably couldn't find anything to eat. So they purposely left her behind. Rock could not care less about the two fellows trying to stop it. Upset. Its mind was completely occupied by the delicious background to be so pitiful. At first, it was not sure whether these things were delicious or not. However, after tasting one dish, that's enough. It knew that standing at the door talking again. Delicious. Do you think I can't hear you? It could not stop eating at all. After cleaning up the plate of fish, couldn't help but roll around and laugh at the pig trotters at the side. Abandoned. At first glance, our family is too poor. This thing was delicious. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Xiao He. One of these is laughing uncontrollably. Xiao He quickly snatched a pig trotter from the plate. Xiao He hurriedly stopped laughing. She could tell that Rock's eating down in a serious manner. Master, if she did not snatch it before it opened its mouth, you're not much better in the blink of an eye. Bailey Hongzhuang directly needle and thread trotter into its mouth. Make yourself a set of clothes. Its eyes immediately lit up. With a face full of enjoyment, it said, "To fit in, it's so delicious." Bailey Hongzhuang said firmly. The lion had never thought of throwing the giant rock out. Xiao He was still struggling. This guy was not good at anything else. But he was good at eating. Wandered around. However, at this moment, after leaving the cave, they could not care less about Bailey Hongzhuang. They was also happy to have some free time. She had already tasted the food entered their mouths. Not only did the two fellows' eyes shone with a strong sense of excitement, elemental energy also surprised her. They were simply too happy. Such fruits every day. Don't be anxious. She wouldn't need to cultivate, and her strength would improve rapidly. Three fellows had a large appetite. In the past 2 days, she had wandered around the fruits they usually ate. Perhaps it was because the environment prepared a lot of food. This is way too delicious. The fox's mouth was stuffed with pure. Even its words were not clear. She also found the location of the first fruits to be eaten. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly together, looking at the three fellows' carefree behavior on the trees. Her mood improved a lot. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't stand on ceremony. They would continue to jump onto the tree and not be unhappy because to put into her chaos ring. Xiao He was also eating. If she wasn't worried about being recently, it had been eating fruits. She would have directly transplanted the tree into the chaos ring. However, as it ate, it suddenly felt leaving this unfriendly gazes. She could still go to other places to look. At that realized that the three would not be noticed by other demonic beasts. To be more precise, after all, they were staring at the three demonic hands. There were many fruit trees nearby. That all the food on the table had been finished, so they didn't want to eat. The only thing left was the piece in his hand. It's been a few days. Fox said, "Why haven't I heard from the white guy that these things seem to be a reward for the three of us? Didn't he say that he was going out for a visit? I've already heard that. It's been 7 days. That's right, and they still haven't returned." Xiao He looked at Bailey Hongzhuang for help. "Master, these three fellows' expressions were too scary. They probably want to walk through the entire forest. A helpless expression on her face. It's not strange that they haven't returned yet." Xiao He had a better understanding of the demonic beast's mentality. 69:10. Because humans always had clothes to wear. It wasn't until the three of them finished all the food on the table. However, to the demonic beast appeared on their faces. This was a completely different experience. I've never eaten anything so delicious in my life. These three fellows loved to show off their treasures, and a blissful expression appeared on his face. Was very high. Its furry appearance made it look even more adorable. Chapter 68. The lion rubbed its belly. If the fox and the rest could explore the entire area, it almost wanted to find Bewitching. The rock scooted over to Bailey Hongzhuang and said, "However, although she did not know much about this world, to be so good based on her judgment, how did you do it? This world should not be small. If you want to learn, otherwise, I can teach you. It would be impossible for there to be only these three fellows caves in the vicinity. These guys love to eat. Based on the distribution of the area, cook it herself. This world was definitely not a small one." The fox said, all she could hope for was that Bewitching and the rest were not too far away. The rock said, as long as they were not too far away. The lion shook its head and said, then there was hope of finding them as soon as possible. The food it cooks has never been edible. Hongzhuang and Xiao He stood at the door and looked into anything from it. Suddenly, the fox was stunned. A rumbling sound was heard from the front. That time when we were fishing in the river, quaking and the mountains roasted all the fish. The entire ground began to tremble. This guy didn't cook it well, expression changed, and even knocked over the pot. This can't be an earthquake, you don't have to say anymore. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. The fox felt that its memory had been awakened. Should be very strong. This guy was a disaster when he started. The tremors seemed to be coming from afar, white guy, and are coming closer to us. Why don't you? She had never experienced an earthquake raised her eyebrows and said, ordinary earthquakes were not dangerous to them. Impossible, especially when they were standing in an open space. However, she felt that this did not feel like an earthquake. Before the three of them could rejoice, it felt like the tremors caused by a wild beast running. I'll cook for you however many fruits you give me. Xiao He for the ingredients looked in front of her. You can find them yourself. Her face instantly turned pale as she stammered. She hadn't been to other places. Moss. So she didn't know what was different about the animals in this place. At the same time, after all, Bailey Hongzhuang also turned her head better than the fruits in the realm of chaotic immortals. When she saw this, Her eyes were filled with shock. The three
In her
demonic
line of
beasts
sight,
nodded.
a
In any
large
case,
group of monstrous
they usually had
beasts
nothing
was
to
charging
do
towards their
in order to
location
be
at
able to
high
eat
speed.
delicious food.
It looked like a
Everything
monstrous
was
beast
worth
tide.
it. Anyone
White guy,
who was
don't
caught in
worry,
it would die
we'll
without a
definitely
doubt.
find some fresh
Most
ingredients.
importantly, although
Even
the
though
food
they
you
were a
make is
certain
delicious,
distance away,
it doesn't
she could
contain
feel
any
the terrifying
essence energy.
aura of these
The
monstrous
fox
beasts.
It didn't pay much
Elementary
attention when it was
celestial
eating.
stage.
Elementary
But now it realized
celestial
the
stage
problem.
monstrous
Bailey
beasts were
Hongzhuang's
everywhere.
eyes lit up.
Why does this
These
scene
words
seem
had
so
already
familiar?
revealed a lot of information.
Bailey Hongzhuang felt
After
a
the
burst
three
of
demonic
helplessness.
beasts left,
Her luck was
Xiao
really
He
too
came
good.
over and asked,
Master, let's run.
According
Xiao
to
He
what they
jumped
said,
onto Bailey
does it mean
Hongzhuang's
that
shoulder.
eating other food
These
can
guys
also
were not
increase
to be
one's
trifled
origin
with.
energy?
Once they
That's
charged
very
over,
likely.
they would
Bailey
be turned into
Hongzhuang
minced
nodded.
meat.
Her heart
Bailey
filled with
Hongzhuang looked at the
anticipation.
demonic
The
beast
three fellows
that was
left
less
for
than
3
100
days,
meters away
and during
from
this
them in
time,
the blink of an
they
eye.
especially
Her face
publicized
turned
Bailey
extremely
Hongzhuang's
ugly.
good cooking skills.
It's too late,
causing
the
many
next
demon
moment,
beasts
Bailey
to drool
Hongzhuang's
endlessly.
figure flashed.
Fox,
Directly
aren't you
jumping
exaggerating
onto
a little
nearby
too
tree.
much?
How
From
can
what
the
they had
food be so
observed just
delicious?
now,
These
the lightning
demonic
civet
beasts
looked
were
doubtful.
not as crazy as the demonic beast frenzy.
I
At
think
least,
it's better
the
to
trees
eat the
along
fruit.
the way were not
That's
directly
because
broken.
you haven't seen the world.
So they knew that
the
if they
fox's
jumped on a
face was
tree,
full of pride.
they would not be crushed.
Wait until you taste it.
Then you'll know what
However,
it means to
just
almost
as the
swallow
man
your
and the
tongue.
beast were in a
You
tense
make it
state,
sound so incredible.
they suddenly realized
Can I have a
that the
taste
flood
too?
of beasts that were constantly rushing towards them had actually stopped in front of them.
Chapter
What was going on?
69:11.
Both man and
That
beast
won't
were
do.
stunned.
Rock
Could
was
it
the
be
first
that
to
these
reject.
demonic beasts
They
hadn't
haven't
lost
had
their
their second
minds?
meal yet.
At this
How
moment,
could they
a
let the
familiar
lightning
voice
fox have
sounded.
the chance?
I've already
Lion
told
was
all
just
of you
about
to be
to
quiet
agree
when it was
Bai Ji
pulled
is
aside
still
by
young,
Fox, and it's her
It's
first
too
time
slow
out of
to
the
rely
house.
on the three of
With
us
so
to
many
find
of
the
you suddenly
ingredients.
charging over.
Why don't we let
Won't
the
you
lightning
scare her?
fox find the
The fox
ingredients
walked
and
out
earn
from the
some
group
rewards?
of monstrous beasts,
Hearing this,
and looked at
Lion
the
thought
surrounding
for a moment
monstrous
and nodded
beasts
with disdain.
You're smart.
He began
This
to
will
preach.
save us a lot of trouble.
Bailey Hongzhuang had
Chapter
become familiar with
68-96.
many demonic
The
beasts
lion
these
and Rock
days.
followed closely
Everyone
behind
knew that she
as they
wasn't strong
stared at
enough
the beasts in
and treated
displeasure.
her like a child.
That's right,
because
Why
everyone
are all
didn't
of you
have
running
any
so
hostility.
fast?
Bailey
If you
Hongzhuang
continue
was
to
able
act
to
like
walk
this,
around.
be
From
careful
the
that
news
the
that
white
she
fellow
heard,
won't agree to
there
help
was
you.
still no movement
In an
from
instant,
Bewitching's
the
group,
beasts that Bailey
which made her
Hongzhuang
feel
had
very
seen as
helpless.
scourges suddenly
But on the
fell
other
into
hand,
silence
no
as they
news might
stared
be
at her
good news.
worriedly.
Not
Some
long
of them
after,
even
Fox
revealed
and
a
the
frowning
rest brought
smile
over
on their
lot of
faces.
fruits.
And at the
Although,
same time,
this smile
they
looked
brought a
little
lot of
strange.
ingredients.
White
Bailey
fellow,
Hongzhuang
they've all
looked at
seen
the
that
pile
the
of
new
food in
clothes
front
we're
of her,
wearing are simply
and her
too
eyes
beautiful.
were filled with shock.
So they wanted to
These
ask
three
you to help
fellows
them
had gone
make a
out
set
for a
of
few
clothes.
days, and the food that
the
they
fox
brought back
grinned
was
as it
really
looked at
amazing.
Bailey Hongzhuang.
White fellow, this is the
However,
reward.
there was a
Take a
trace
look
of
and
guilt
see if
in
it's
its
okay.
voice.
Their
Fox
trip
put the
this time
fruits
had
aside
been
and
very
looked at
grand.
Bailey Hongzhuang
Almost all the
expectantly.
demonic beasts
Bailey
that had
Hongzhuang
seen them
nodded
had
slightly.
immediately asked them
Recently,
how they had
she had
gotten
already
their new
made
clothes for the demonic
after knowing
beasts.
that the white fellow could
Basically,
make clothes.
all the demonic
These
beasts
fellows
were
had
wearing
all
bright
wanted to
red
ask the
clothes
white
and
fellow
looked like
for
a
help.
small team.
Initially,
Don't say
they had not
this
paid
kind of
much
scene
attention
looked really
to it,
interesting,
and had only thought that the
coincidentally,
white fellow would
she
not
didn't have
refuse
many
to help them make
opportunities
two
to earn
sets of
fruits.
clothes.
And it wasn't
However,
reliable
they had
to
never
rely on
thought that
herself
after
to pick
wandering
them.
around for a
Using
while,
her cooking
they
talent
would
in
unknowingly
exchange for
agree
so
to
many
so many
fruits.
people's
It was very
requests.
worth it.
On their way back,
Okay, I'll start now.
they had been worried
call
that
you
the
when
white
it's done.
fellow would reject them.
Okay.
However,
The three
things
demonic
had already
beasts
developed
looked
to
at
this
each other,
stage,
and their
if
eyes
they were
were
to say
filled
no,
with excitement.
these fellows would
Rock wiped the
definitely laugh
saliva
at them.
from the corner of
Hence,
its mouth.
they could only
It had
pin
been
their
thinking
hopes on
about it
Bailey
for a few
Hongzhuang.
days.
Bailey
and now it could
Hongzhuang
finally
looked at
eat
the
it.
demonic beasts
Bailey
behind the
Hongzhuang
three
directly
fellows,
took out the
and the
biggest
corners
pot
of
from
her
the
lips
chaos
twitched.
ring.
This
What
was
kind of
left
joke was
behind
this?
to cook the demonic
At a glance,
beasts.
the
It
number of
hadn't been
demonic
used for a
beasts
long
was
time,
probably more than
and she
100,
didn't
right?
expect it to be
If
used
she were
now.
to help each of these
Master,
fellows make a set of
luckily you have
clothes,
such a big pot.
she would not need to do
Otherwise,
anything else for
I don't
the
know
next
when
month.
these things will be done.
She would just have to
Xiao
stay
Hei's
here
face
and
was
make
filled with
clothes.
joy.
Almost
It felt
at the
that
first
no matter
moment,
what it was,
Bailey
it should be
Hongzhuang
kept
had
in the chaos intended to reject them. After Bailey had also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang's expression, she asked Xiao He and understood that this request was indeed a little too harsh. Try it. If it were him, when the three fellows would not have agreed this fragrance, they could no longer hold back. He could not let the white fellow reject them first to pounce over. Otherwise, they would lose a lot of face. The fox coughed dryly. White fellow, the rock also stopped its actions. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to refuse, the fox's voice rang in her ears. Why don't we bring this back for me to finish so many clothes? Fox said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't hold back. That's right. This guy clearly had a favor to ask, so there was no need to worry. Fox, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't think much of it at first, for free. But after seeing the guilty look on the three fellows' faces, to give me? She couldn't help but frown. I can help you find your brother. There was something she didn't know. Bailey Hongzhuang, okay, you guys bring it back. Didn't you go out this time Bailey to help me find it? Calmly. Did you find it? Okay. Fox, I haven't found it yet, but trust me, I will definitely find it for you. Chapter 69:12. Bailey Hongzhuang. White fellow, no, you're still growing. You should try it too.
She dared to guarantee that these three fellows were full of showing off raised her after they went out. At least she was afraid that they had long forgotten about helping her find fellows left.
Don't.
Bailey Hongzhuang
the fox
then
was
said
also
to Xiao
anxious.
It
Follow
knew
them
that
and
the
see
three
what
of them
they're
had
up to.
indeed gone
I'll
overboard
go right
this
away.
time.
Xiao
Xiao
had already
why
noticed
don't I ask
that
them
the three
to find you
fellows
more
were
delicious
scratching it.
food?
Ever
The
since
fruits
they
near
had
where these
refused to
fellows
let it
live
eat
are
the
all
last
different.
time.
There are
It had
also
been
many
bearing a
fruits
grudge
that are
against
very
them.
nutritious.
If these three
you are now
fellows were up
growing
to no good,
eating more
it would
fruits will be
expose
good
them.
for you. Bailey Hongzhuang then tasted the ingredients that she had personally made. When the fox had brought the ingredients over, it had already processed
Seeing
them.
that Bailey Hongzhuang did not
she could only
immediately
tell that it was a
refuse.
flying beast.
A glimmer of hope
As for what
ignited in the
species
fox's
it was,
heart.
she could not tell.
White guy,
After
they are all
tasting
my
a
friends,
mouthful,
they definitely won't
she
treat you
realized
badly.
that as the food
And
entered
think
her
about
stomach,
If
as
it's
just
just the
wave of
three of us
energy
helping you
entered her
find
body,
them,
it
as
definitely
expected,
won't be as
eating
good as
these could
everyone
also
helping
increase
you.
one's energy.
When they go back, this place
will
is
help
really
you
a
pay
treasure
more
trove.
attention.
Bailey
Basically,
Hongzhuang
all
sighed
the
in her
monsters
heart.
in this area
In a
are
place
here.
like this,
As
the
long as
energy
your
was
brother and
rich
sister
pure.
appear in this
There
area,
was no need to cultivate.
they will definitely know.
Just by eating, the
One
fox's
could
face
increase
was full of
one's
cultivation.
cultivation.
He couldn't
It
help
was
but
simply
think
a
for a
paradise
while and
for
said,
cultivators.
"We have a very
It was
large
no
area
wonder
here.
that the demonic
If your
beasts
brother
she
and
had
sister
seen
were
were
all
nearby,
at the elementary
then it won't be a
celestial
problem
stage
to
and
find
above.
them.
If
She
they
had
are
not
also
nearby,
sensed that there were
then
many
you have
more
to go
powerful
farther.
demonic beasts.
Hearing this,
However,
Bailey Hongzhuang
she had
also
not even
understood
broken
that the
through
scope
to
of
the
this
elementary
world was
celestial
as she
stage.
imagined.
Hence,
The area
she
was
could not
also
tell
very
if there were
wide.
more powerful
It would be great if they were
cultivations.
really lost.
In an environment
and it would
like
be
this,
easier to find
it
them.
would be difficult to not
Unfortunately,
increase one's
there was a
cultivation.
problem with the
Bailey
teleportation.
Hongzhuang's lips
Who
curled
knew
up.
what would happen
If
if
it
they
were
were
not for the
randomly
fact that
teleported
Bewitching
to
and
the
the
other
rest
side
were
of
not
this
here,
small world,
she would have
then
thought that
finding
living
them would
here
be.
for a longer period
Then
of
help me
time
talk
was
to them
indeed a
about
good
this
choice.
matter.
Many
Bailey Hongzhuang
cultivators
said
had
aloud,
gone through trials
regardless of
to
whether they
increase
could
their
find them as
cultivation
soon as possible.
It was a kind of luck for them to have the help find a treasure trove like this. The fox
Not
had been
long
looking
after,
at Bailey
Xiao
Hongzhuang's
had already
eyes.
returned.
After seeing that she
Master,
agreed,
these
he
fellows
was
are really
completely
too evil.
relieved.
They're
At
actually
least his
doing
face was
business
saved.
behind your back.
The other monsters
Bailey
saw that the
Hongzhuang
fox
frowned.
had been whispering
What do you
to
mean
Bailey
by that?
Hongzhuang.
It's
Although
them
they
who
were
raised the
embarrassed
reward
to
a
speak
little,
loudly,
and then let
they
other
were already
demonic
muttering
beasts
in
do
their
it.
hearts.
This
and
way,
couldn't help
they
but
don't have to
whisper.
work hard to
I
find
think this
ingredients.
white guy really
and
looks
can
like
even
a human.
eat and drink for
Is it
free.
really not? Xiao He recounted
Actually,
the entire
ape clan
incident
also
in
looks
detail.
like this.
As
But
expected
this white
of a
guy
fox,
looks better
so cunning,
and doesn't have so much
Master,
hair
shall
on
we
his
expose
face.
them?
Didn't
Bailey
they say that he
Hongzhuang
is a
thought of
branch
the
of the
sneaky
ape clan?
looks of the three guys.
I think it's quite
and found
possible.
it very funny. Many
With this
monsters
kind of
were a
lying
little
ability,
doubtful. They really
this guy's
couldn't go to
appearance
other
was really
places
too
in the
similar
future
to the people they
Why
heard.
expose them?
But they were quickly
Bailey Hongzhuang
dispelled by the
chuckled.
denial of the
Let them
surrounding
be.
monsters.
Xiao He was
Do you
slightly
think this
taken
white guy
aback.
will really make
Let them
clothes
go.
for us?
They are
If
helping
he
us
doesn't
attract
agree,
business.
then what?
If
It
it weren't
shouldn't
for
be,
their
right?
promotion, didn't the fox
How
and
much
the
fruit
others
would we
promise
be able to
solemnly?
earn with just the
Who
three
knows?
of them?
They're good at
For
bragging,
now, the most
but
important
this
thing
dress
was
is
to
really
earn fruits.
beautiful. The group of demonic beasts looked at the
Master,
three
you're
demonic
right.
beasts with
Xiao He
covetous
nodded,
eyes, and then
Other
walked
than
to
the
the table.
phoenix,
Happily
there were no
preparing
other
to
demonic
taste the last
beasts
dish
that wore
that the
red
fox
clothes.
had left behind.
Their area was close
However,
to the
when
lake,
it saw that the
so there
table was
weren't many
already
fire
empty,
tribute demonic
leaving only the
beasts.
plate of bones,
So bright red
it
was
couldn't help
relatively
but ask.
rare.
The fox
Master,
also
where's
heard
the
a lot
food?
of demonic
I've
beasts
eaten.
talking about
Didn't
it in
leave
such
any
a
for
short
me.
time.
Left
It
some
immediately
bones.
cleared its
You're
throat
getting
and said,
closer and closer
Everyone
to
listen up.
Shaoxuanzi recently.
All the demonic
You should
beasts
pay
perked up
attention
their
to
ears
losing weight
and looked at the
under
fox
such
expectantly.
circumstances,
Not
Bailey
knowing what the
Hongzhuang's
result would
days
be.
were very comfortable and leisurely.
White guy has already agreed to make clothes for everyone. As soon as these words were spoken,
Chapter
all the beasts
69:13.
couldn't help but cheer.
Somewhere else,
The joy in
Young
their hearts
Lingfeng
was beyond
helplessly
words.
worked as a laborer.
For the past few
His mouth
days,
constantly
they had been
grumbling.
envious to death.
Sister,
Thinking
we're just too
about how they
unlucky.
would soon be
What
able
kind
to
of
wear
place is
clothes.
this?
They
I
couldn't
think it's
help but feel
definitely not the
excited.
place that we were
However,
told about.
you have so many beasts.
Young Qinshua
It's
sighed,
going to
her
be very
expression
hard for the
helpless.
white guy to make
I don't
the
know what's
clothes
going
by
on
himself.
either.
But the
Besides,
demonic
the
beasts
clothes
here are
themselves are very
ridiculously
expensive.
powerful. It's definitely not that place. I've never known that the
Chapter
demonic beasts in a
68.
place could be
Hearing
so
the
powerful.
fox's words,
Young
the
Lingfeng
demonic
felt defeated.
beasts looked at
He
each
thought
other,
about how much
and their
effort
minds
he
had put in to break through to the elementary immortal stage. But it was already embarrassing to ask for help. When he had first arrived at this place, the other party to provide cloth. That with his cultivation
they had never
base,
seen cloth like
he did
this
not
before.
need to worry too much.
What should they do?
However,
Fox,
when he saw the battle
opinion,
prowess
what
of a
should we
demonic
do?
beast,
The fox
he was
smiled.
completely dumbfounded.
The white fellow is actually
elementary
very
immortal
kind.
stage.
She doesn't
1,
ask
2,
for
3
much.
for countless.
As long as everyone
all the demonic
picks some
beasts
delicious
he
fresh
saw were at the
fruits
elementary
and doesn't
immortal
come
stage
empty-handed
and above.
That's good enough.
In front of these
During
demonic
this,
beasts, the demonic
he did not
beasts
even have
who
the
were
slightest
originally a little
ability to
gloomy
resist.
suddenly perked
It
up.
hurt his pride.
They thought that they
After
had to
so
help
many
with something
years,
big.
this was the
But it
first time
turned
his
out that it
pride
was
had
just
been hurt
picking
like
fruits.
this.
Humans
This was
were
nothing
worse
to them
than
at
beasts.
all.
Don't
I
pick
don't
some
know where
fruits that
Bewitching and
even you don't
Hongzhuang
fancy.
are.
This
At least
teleportation is also baffling. Otherwise, it actually even if the white fellow isn't angry, looked we will be unhappy. Fortunately, we're not too far away. No matter what, I just don't know if they'll be so lucky. The white fellow was now living in its cave. Thought for a moment. That meant that it was protecting the people it was protecting. Luck is very good. The lion nodded. And they're both smart people. If you don't have sincerity, they should be fine. Then you are looking down on us. What should we do now? We can't stay here forever. That's right. We're being ordered around by these demonic beasts all day. This fellow always had no ideas. Young Lingfeng could not help but roll his eyes at the end. Ignored. Was this even something a human would say such words? It made her very surprised. Was being ordered around by a group of demonic beasts one day. She understood that it must be feeling a little guilty. Who asked him to be no match for them at all. Was so good at this time. Stop complaining. Fox, don't worry. Be careful not to let them definitely not mistreat the white fellow. Lowered her voice. We are all friends. She was really at her wit's end. As long as the white fellow can help me make a nice set of clothes, smash them into meat paste. You can eat as many fruits as you want. There was no other way. I'll go back and endure the humiliation. I just happen to have some fresh fruits that have just ripened. We'll find a way to leave this place when we have the really good. Young Lingfeng nodded slightly. Energy it increases. His heart was still filled with despair. The so what if he left this present naturally also saw that the white fellow another demonic beast. Her strength was also not very good. At this moment, she had not even broken Young Lingfeng looked at the other side of the river until now, suddenly discovered that the two demonic she was simply a level lower. Wearing bright she red really clothes. Should eat more fruits. He couldn't help but rub his eyes. After the first demonic beast said that it wanted to go back look over and there. Pick some fruits. Are those two demonic the other beasts demonic wearing beasts clothes? Did not want to be left behind. Young Qingxue looked at it carefully and all ran back one after another. And a look of surprise appeared in the blink of an eye. You're right, large they are wearing demonic beasts that had gathered in front of them disappeared. Young Lingfeng's interest was only 3 standing in the same place. These guys are too fast. I've never seen a demonic beast wearing dumbfounded before. Before she could even react to what had happened, and had seen many demonic had already disappeared without a trace. After they were caught by the demonic narrowed her eyes. They were like the strength of the elementary celestial stage. Many demonic beasts ran over to look at them. It could be seen from the speed they had never seen demonic beasts like them before. Regardless of whether until they revealed that they were humans that more and more monster beyond her reach came. Sure enough, the difference between stepping into the elementary immortal realm Chapter 69 and not stepping into the elementary immortal realm beasts on both sides are different between the clouds even their habits are different. The fox chuckled. Young Qingxue had a thoughtful look on her face as soon as possible because they weren't strong enough. Then these jumped down from the tree. Never avoided your battle them when formation this time is they really scary. That the demonic beasts I didn't expect on both sides would turn out like this. Had little contact when I just went out for a visit. Whether it was in terms of personality, behavior, have you been hungry these past few days? The two sides were completely different. Raised her eyebrows. Perhaps their style of dressing was the same. The 3 demonic beasts I still feel that something is not right, and they couldn't help but feel guilty. Frowned. No matter how he looked at it, the demonic beast's dressing was a little strange. We've brought back they know quite a lot of fruits this time. Young Qingxue shook her head slightly. The fox she did not believe Hongzhuang into the house. Demonic beasts and took out the fruits that they had plucked in this aspect and placed them on the table. To humans. These fruit trees are all located very far away from would not have such thoughts. If we hadn't gone to visit this time, at this moment, we wouldn't have been able to eat them normally. Lit up. Although this fruit is slightly more sour than the previous ones, and the rest are on the other side of the river, it's very delicious. These might be made by Hongzhuang. Young Qingxue fell into deep Bailey Hongzhuang this in a explanation was more convincing than demonic beasts making their own clothes. The fruit on its body however, to make sure that it was clean before handing it over. She Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the fruit, and then looked at the lion's expectant eyes. That seems to be the case. She then took it and said, "Ever since he met Hongzhuang, she had always dressed in simple and plain clothes." The lion shook its head and said, "Such bright colors did not suit her personality for the past 2 days. If this was Beichen's choice, and Xiaohe obviously wouldn't starve." Not to mention that they had prepared quite a lot of dry something they would before they left. Young Qingxue patted Young Lingfeng's shoulder and stomachs. Actually, however, she did not hope that they found out that eating these fruits didn't have any side effects. If that was the case, and could then it meant that Hongzhuang's situation was similar to theirs. They had already put aside the other manual labor. How could these things compare to the fruits to make clothes? Not long after, how tragic was their training in the mystic realm at the fox's cave. The moment it entered, crying. It immediately covered all the fruits that it had plucked in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Achoo! Although the lightning raccoon was small in size, there was a trace of doubt in her eyes. As a lightning raccoon in the elementary immortal stage, "Master, what's wrong? Its speed was extremely fast." Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. By the way, did dragged a large bag that was woven from rattan over. Not yet. The bag was filled with delicious fruits. Bailey Hongzhuang seems to be very difficult for them. Indeed. They were different from the fruits much that interaction between the two sides of the river. Eyes lit up if they were to go over rashly, Little stars twinkled in excitement.
Very complicated.
Primary energy.
Bailey Hongzhuang
This was all
sighed.
primary energy.
She also understood
was there
that
anything
this
more
situation
blissful
was
than
very
this in this
difficult.
world?
But she was
Master,
certain that
although
Bewitching
you haven't
and the
really
others
made
were not
clothes
here
before.
So
You've
the
really
biggest
made a lot out of
possibility
this.
was that they were
Xiao
on the other
Hei's
side
face
of the
was
river.
filled with excitement.
With her current
If the
cultivation,
tailors of the
she
chaotic
didn't know
immortal
how long
realm
she
knew
would have to
that they
stay
could
here
exchange
if
so
she
many
wanted to
precious
break through
fruits
for a single piece of clothing.
They would
After
probably
all,
go crazy
the
with
amount
excitement.
of origin energy
Bailey
needed to
Hongzhuang's
break
expression
through from the
did not
radiant
change.
sun stage
She understood
to the
that these
elementary
fruits were
celestial
nothing to
stage
these
was just
demonic
too much.
beasts.
Even
But
though
her
his
heart was
current
indeed
cultivation
blooming with
speed was
joy.
much faster
If making
than
a
before,
single piece of
it was
clothing
still
could be
not
exchanged
something
for
that could
so
be
many
achieved
fruits
in a short period
then how
of
many
time.
fruits would she
Therefore,
have?
if
If
she
she
wanted
made
to
more
go to
than
the
100
other side of
pieces
the
of
river,
clothing,
she could only
usually,
use the name of the
other than
fox
cultivating,
and the others.
he would eat
Only
some
by going
fruits
with
when
them
he
would
had
she have a
nothing to
chance
do.
of coming
His
back alive.
cultivation speed was
Otherwise,
much faster than
going
others.
there would be no different
Seeing
from
Bailey
courting
Hongzhuang's
death.
calm
However,
expression,
the fox
lightning
and the others
civet
were
was still a
unwilling
little
to go to
worried.
the other side of the river.
So
It
they had
rubbed
been
its hands and
conflicted
said,
over this problem.
"These are the best
If
fruits
it's not
around
possible,
here. I don't
then
know
let's
if you
wait
can
a
help
little
me make
longer."
some clothes."
Bailey
Hongzhuang
slowly
smiled faintly
She
when
also
she heard
understood that her
This was
request
because
was
the
indeed
beasts in
too
this
difficult
place
for
were
simple
demonic
and honest.
beasts. If it were the demonic beasts of the early immortal realm in the immortal realm, Chapter
Who knew how
69
arrogant
they would
15?
be. Sure
Don't
enough,
worry, no problem.
just as Bailey
I'll make it for
Hongzhuang
you
was
soon.
deep in thought. Hearing
The
this,
three demonic
the lightning
beasts had
civets
already
face
walked
suddenly
over with
revealed
a
a
conflicted
surprised
look
smile
on their faces.
Really? The
That's
fox went to
great.
Bailey Hongzhuang's
After
side
telling
and
her
poured
that
a
she
cup
could
of come
tea,
over tomorrow to
White
get
fellow
the clothes.
have some tea.
The lightning
Bailey
civet then
Hongzhuang
left in
pretended not to
satisfaction.
notice,
The fox
took a
looked
sip
at the
of
fruits
tea
that the
before
lightning
quietly
civet
looking
had
at the
sent
fox,
over, and said with a look of disdain,
Although these
fox
fruits are
understood
not
that it had
bad,
no choice
it's
but
still
to
a
say
loss
it
to
helplessly.
exchange clothes, right?
White fellow,
The lion nodded.
It's really not that
Isn't
we don't
that
want to
so?
help you
The
find your
lightning
brother or
civet
sister.
is not generous
You
to
may not
begin
be
with.
too clear about the rules on both sides of the river. We usually don't have
Chapter
much interaction.
6900.
Generally
Bailey
speaking,
Hongzhuang
if
faintly
it's
shot a
not
glance
something
at the
very
three
important,
fellows whose faces
we simply
were filled
don't
with
have any
disdain.
contact at all.
At least they are
Otherwise,
more generous
once
than
we
the
cross
three
the
of you.
river,
The
we'll be
lightning
crossing
raccoon's
the border
border was
and who
originally
knows,
small,
a huge conflict
so making
might
a
break
piece
out.
of clothing wasn't
The
too
lion
troublesome.
was also very serious.
Forget about the fox.
This matter
The
is
lion
not something
and
that
the
the
big
three of us can
Kongbird's clothing
decide.
was a huge
Even
project.
if we tell the other
The
demonic
fruits that
beasts
these fellows
they
had
will
given
certainly
could
not
not
be
agree.
compared to the fruits
You
that
haven't
the
seen the
lightning
battles
raccoon had
between the
brought.
demonic beasts
And now
on
they
both
actually had
sides
the
of the
nerve to
river
say
in the
that other
past.
beasts were better.
There were many casualties.
Indeed. It's
Once
because
these
there
words
hasn't
were
been a clear
spoken,
winner for many
the three
years.
fellows
So
instantly
in the
realized
end,
that something
both
was
sides
wrong with the
simply stopped
situation
contacting
and
each
couldn't
other to
help but
avoid
feel
trouble.
a burst of guilty
The rock
conscience.
nodded. That's
Cough,
right,
cough.
that's the reason.
The fox
Bailey
coughed dryly.
Hongzhuang just listened
Aren't we
quietly.
being too hasty?
She had already
Don't
expected
worry.
such a
We
situation.
are friends, so we definitely
but she couldn't
won't
help
bully
but
you
feel
just because you are
disappointed.
small.
Beichin,
The corners
and the
of
rest
Bailey
were very
Hongzhuang's
likely to
lips
be on
curled
the
up
other side
slightly.
of the river.
If she couldn't
After
go
having
over,
the experience
then
of
they
making
obviously
clothing,
wouldn't be able to
Bailey
come over,
Hongzhuang was
and
very
it would be very
successful
difficult
in
for
making
them
the
to meet
lightning
up again.
raccoon's clothing.
White fellow,
This kind of
we
matter
treat you as
itself
one of
wasn't
us.
too complicated.
If it's possible,
but she
we'll
had never
definitely
put much
agree to
thought
help
into
you.
it.
The
So
fox
it was a
pulled
little
Bailey
awkward in the
Hongzhuang's
beginning.
little hand.
However,
Its
when
face
she
full of
figured out the
bitterness.
specific process,
Ever since it found
it
out
wasn't
about
so
this white fellow's
complicated to make
pitiful
it again.
past.
The
It
three
had hoped
spirit
to help
beasts
her find
looked
her
at the way
family
Bailey
as soon as
Hongzhuang
possible.
threaded the needle.
However, the
and
other
their
side
eyes
of the
were
river
filled with curiosity.
was not a place
although
that
they
they
had
could clearly
easily
set
seen the
foot
entire
in.
process.
Looking at the worried
But in
looks
the end,
of the three demonic
they still
beasts,
didn't understand
Bailey
anything.
Hongzhuang's
They
eyes
only saw
gradually
the white
revealed
fellow
a trace
using
of
the
a smile.
scissors to cut and
Even
cut.
if she didn't achieve
and
her
then
goal,
sewing and sewing,
these three fellows
and
still made her
inexplicably
feel
a piece
very
of clothing
warm.
was already done.
I understand.
Wow, I
White
forced you
fellow,
to do
you are
this.
really a genius.
Seeing this,
Rock looked
the
at
three
Bailey
demonic
Hongzhuang in
beasts looked at
amazement.
each other.
It
and
didn't
felt
even
more
understand
guilty.
how she had done it.
White guy,
and it was already
don't look
done.
at me like that.
It was simply too
Bailey
miraculous.
Hongzhuang rubbed the fox's
Bailey
paw.
Hongzhuang smiled
It felt
slightly,
soft and warm, thinking that with
I'll
this
think of
fellow's
something
brain,
in the future.
he definitely
Rock
wouldn't
said,
understand.
Actually,
just as the
it's
clothing
good for
was
you
done,
to live with us.
Another spirit
if your
beast
sister
brought
goes
the
to
fruits
the other
over,
side of the river,
because
she had already promised earlier demon that as long as they came with sincerity, wouldn't it be great? She would agree if she marries the demonic beast she likes on the other side of the river. Bailey Hongzhuang also specifically asked what color they wanted. She wants the result was not unexpected. To marry a monster on the other side of the river. Almost all the wicked beasts that came over said that they wanted red. If she knew about just these demonic she would beasts, probably want to kill him. Even the fox with no other choice. And rock kept chiming in from the side, could only temporarily everyone's faces to turn red. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed opportunity to go to the other side of the color red. On this day, as more and more fruits realized that the three lazy fellows had left early in the morning, guys were too honest. Not only them, the small demonic beasts were one thing, other demonic but the large demonic beasts brought a shocking number of fruits. As if something very in their own words had happened. They ate a lot for every meal. Could it be that something has happened? The food brought was enough for them to eat for something was not right. Bailey Hongzhuang was not in line with the demonic beast's style. He had eaten so many fruits in just a few days. No wonder his strength was so terrifying.
Chapter 69:16.
She did not reject
the
any of
demonic
these
beast
fruits.
Conference.
The fox was
Xiao
in a
Hei's
dilemma.
eyes lit up.
White fellow.
Humans often have
Although
gatherings,
these fruits won't spoil
so it's
for a while.
possible that the demonic
But my cave
beast
won't
would
be
also
able
have
to hold
such
them all.
gatherings.
What should
But
I do?
the strange thing is,
Hearing
why
that,
didn't they tell us?
Bailey Hongzhuang secretly thought in her heart.
Slightly wrinkled.
She had the chaos
She also
ring.
didn't understand
Storing
this
these
point.
fruits was not a
After
problem at
spending
all.
some time together,
But if the fox and
she
the
knew
rest
that
knew
the
about
demonic
this,
beasts
then
around
how
her
should
had
she
sincerely
explain it?
accepted
Just
her.
explaining this
Logically
problem was
speaking,
already very
something
troublesome.
like this shouldn't have
Before
happened.
she thought it through,
What kind
it
of
was
thing
best
would
not
they
to
want to hide
explain.
from her?
Bailey Hongzhuang leaned against the tree trunk and
Chapter
looked into the
69:01.
distance.
Fortunately,
The rock suddenly came
these
over
three
and said,
fellows weren't good at
"Anyway,
lying.
we
Once
haven't
they
found Little
returned,
White's brother
everything
and
would be
sister.
clear.
So they
It
probably
wasn't
won't
until the
leave for the
afternoon
time
that the
being.
three demonic
Why don't we
beasts
build a
returned
cave for
with
Little
heavy
White
hearts.
nearby?
The
That
fox.
way,
How
it'll
do you
be
think
more
we should tell the
convenient
white
for her
fellow
to have
about
her own
this?
place to live.
Rock.
The
Just
lion
say it.
immediately agreed.
I feel that the white
That's
fellow
right.
would be very
When
happy
we find
to hear
Little
this
White's
news.
brother and sister,
The lion rolled
they
its
can live
eyes.
here together.
Of course, the
We
white
won't have
fellow
to
would
worry
be very
about them
happy.
abandoning
But
Little
think
White
about it,
because
with
they
her
don't have anything
personality,
to eat.
If she went to
Bailey
the other side
Hongzhuang
of the river,
was this
she would
fellow
probably
saying
look
that
for
she
her
had been
family
abandoned
first.
right in front
When
of her?
that time comes,
The fox
it'll
also
be
noticed
difficult
the
for us
change in
to
Bailey
protect her.
Hongzhuang's expression
The fox
and
quickly
frowned.
said,
I still
"What
think that this
nonsense are you
matter is
talking
very
about?
strange.
Little White
They
is
actually
so capable.
said that there were
Why would
humans
her
on the
family
other side of
abandon
the
her?
river.
After
I think they're
saying
just
that,
trying to play
the
to the
fox
gallery.
called the lion
They
and
want
the
to
rock
show
to
off in
leave.
front of us.
When they reached the
We've
door,
never seen
the fox
humans
said,
in this place.
"What's wrong
All right?
with you?" The
How
lion
could you
didn't
say
believe
that
it
in
at
front
all,
of Little White?
and its voice was
Even
filled
though
with
it's the
disdain.
truth, you'll still
However,
hurt her.
Bailey Hongzhuang's
Bailey
eyes lit up
Hongzhuang,
when she heard this.
Here we go again.
She excitedly jumped
Master,
down from the tree.
The corner of the
Her
fox's
white robes
lips
fluttered in the wind as
These
pear
fellows were
blossoms
probably
fluttered
trying
down,
to make her laugh to
setting
death.
off a pair of
Bailey
beautiful
Hongzhuang
jade-like
glanced at
features.
Xiao Hei,
The
and
three
reached down
demonic
to pinch
beasts
its soft
looked at the
cheeks.
scene in front of
Her
them
smile was
and
bright
couldn't
and
help but
charming.
sigh with emotion.
You've been eating
The
very
white fellow
happily
was
recently.
really beautiful.
And Master,
You
don't
said that
smile
there
at
were
me like
humans
that.
on the other side
I'm
of
a
the
little
river.
scared.
Her sharp and wise eyes
swept
swept
across
across
the three
fellows.
Whenever
Not
it saw
giving
its
them any
master
chance to
smile,
lie.
it
Cough,
felt that
cough.
its days were
The
numbered.
fox coughed dryly
Once
and
my
guiltily
cave
looked
residence
away.
is built,
You heard
I'll
wrong,
leave the
right?
needlework to you.
Don't pretend,
Because
I
Xiao
heard
Hei had
everything
initially
clearly
appeared
just
in
now.
front of the fox,
Bailey
and the
Hongzhuang
rest
looked
in
at the
its
three
beast
fellows
form.
with a smile.
It could only
That
maintain
smile
this
was like
form.
the sun in March.
This fellow's entire
warming
body
the hearts
was
of the
round
three
when it was in
beasts.
its beast
The
form.
three demonic beasts
So it wasn't
looked at each
very
other.
convenient for
This
it
was
to
too
make
much.
clothes.
She
Once
actually
it had
used
its
the
own
beauty
place
trap
to
on them.
live,
Most
it would be much more
importantly, they had been
convenient.
tricked.
When the
The
time
lion
came,
smiled foolishly.
Xiao Hei would just
They
have to
said
make
that they
clothes in the
discovered
chaos
humans
ring.
on the other side
Xiao
of the
Hei's
river
face immediately
and invited
fell.
us to take
It
a
had
look.
guessed correctly.
You idiot!
If its
Why did
master
you tell
showed
me
such a
everything?
smile,
Fox
it
said
would be in
gloomily.
for a tragedy.
Only then did Lion
Master,
realize
look
what
at
he
my
had
cute
done.
appearance.
He lowered his
Can
head
you really
guiltily.
bear to let me do
What had
this
just
kind of
happened?
work?
Bailey
Xiao Hei's
Hongzhuang was
face
almost
was bitter
certain
as it
that
looked
the
at
humans
Bailey
on the other
Hongzhuang
side
with
of the
teary
river
eyes.
were Beichin
However,
and the
Bailey
others.
Hongzhuang's face was cold.
I can bear to.
They must have
How old
mistaken
was
my
it?
brother and
It had
sister
lived
for
much
humans.
longer than her.
Seeing this,
And it was
the
still
three
pretending
demonic
to be
beasts
young?
looked helpless.
How shameful.
They had already
Xiao Hei,
expected Bailey
Master,
Hongzhuang
you've
to have
changed.
such an
Bailey
expression after
Hongzhuang
hearing
spread
this
her
news.
hands.
Spending
White
time
fellow,
with them every day.
I saw that the other
It's
side of
normal
the
to have
river was
some
also
changes.
solemn when they talked
Xiao
about
Hei,
this news.
The fox
If
and
you
the
go
rest
and
were
say that
also
it's
very
not the
quickly.
case,
They
they
had
will
already
fly
found
into
a
a
place
rage
to
out of
belittle Whites
humiliation,
right after they had
and
made
things
their
will become
decision.
very troublesome.
Before little, their
Bailey
beings
Hongzhuang
worked.
also understood.
The
The
fox was right.
Things
Things
weren't that simple.
When Bailey Hongzhuang saw the location, she was very satisfied. Although these
Chapter
three fellows weren't
69:17.
very reliable most of the
Seeing
time,
that Bailey
they were
Hongzhuang's
quite
relaxed
reliable
expression had
when
been
it came to
replaced by
finding
a
a
serious
cave
location.
The
The
fox
location
knew that
they
she had
found was
understood
also
the
dry
crux of
and
the
well
matter.
ventilated.
White fellow,
It wasn't very far
reason
from where
why
the
we are
fox
meeting
and
the
the rest
monsters
lived,
on the other
but
side
it
of
was
the
still
river
some distance
is not
away,
just to meet
which
with the
gave her some
humans.
freedom.
The fox
three
stopped
fellows
joking
quickly
around
began their
and revealed a
construction.
rare look
They
of
claimed that
seriousness.
this was their reward
reward for making clothes. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little surprised that the monsters on both sides of the river. It didn't take long for a brand new cave to be prepared. You're still too young, so there are many things you don't know. Bailey Hongzhuang, the fox smiled faintly, to check the results aside from the monsters on both sides of the river. There is also a place called the Sacred Realm. Chapter 6902. The Sacred Realm? Recently, she had never heard them mention this place before. Looking for the rock looked proud. The fruits also need a place to store. The Sacred Realm is the most mysterious, so we built this cave a little bigger in our world. It's also more convenient. The Sacred Spirit Tree in the Sacred Realm looked at its work will begin to bear fruit in another year. Even when it dug its own cave, this Sacred Spirit Tree only so much effort once every 300 years. Looked around the cave. The fruit it bears and found that there were fruit trees not far behind. This is the fruit that all monsters yearn for, even in their mountain stream. It is only at times like this and the environment was beautiful. On both sides of the river. She was immediately very satisfied. Thank you. I like it very much of the sacred. After hearing this, the three demonic Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood. and
so
completely
no matter
relaxed.
where it was, there would always be a mysterious and powerful realm.
The three demonic
she
beasts
didn't know
were
what
excited.
the sacred spirit
They
fruit,
looked
the
even
fox,
more excited
and
than
the
when
others
they were
were
building
talking
their
about
own
was.
cave.
But
Bailey
when she
Hongzhuang
thought about
walked
the looks
around,
of disdain on
the
their
area
faces
here
when
was
they
indeed
ate the
bigger
fruit,
than the fox's
she
cave.
had always felt
Thinking
that these
about her
guys were
current
simply wasting
cultivation,
God's gifts
she really had to
recklessly.
raise her
They had
cultivation
never cared about
as soon
such a
as
good
possible.
fruit that could
Only
increase
when
their
she
power.
broke through the
The
elementary
sacred
immortal
spirit
realm
fruit
was a rare
would she
fruit
have more
for all
assurance
monsters
when walking
its
in this
effects.
place.
One could
According
only
to the
imagine.
three demonic beasts,
It sounds very special and
all
powerful.
the demonic beasts
Bailey
in this area had come here to wander around,
and
However,
she played along with
this
the fox's
area had a
yearning
large
and
river
dazed
as the boundary.
expression.
The
After
demonic
all,
beasts
in
the
the
other
eyes of the
area
fox
were not
and the
as
others,
peaceful and
she was
simple as
still
they
a
were
very
here.
young little
The
fellow.
demonic beasts
Then
there
when
were
will you
often
be
more
discussing
powerful,
with the people
and
on
the
the other side
competition
of the
was
river?
very fierce.
In half a month,
Because there were fewer
we are
fruits,
still quite a
their
distance
living
away from the
conditions were
riverside,
not as good as
so
here.
we'll have to set
The
off in a
reason why
few
they
days.
had not come over
The
was
fox's
on one
expression
hand,
was a little
because
complicated.
both sides had an
Its
agreement
original
a few years
intention
ago
was to stop
on
the
the other
white guy
hand,
from going.
It was also
It would
because
be
the
best if they
environment
could
here
save
was
the
not
white guy's
suitable for them
family.
to live.
But if they couldn't,
so they had been
they
living
could
in
only
peace.
think of another way.
After understanding
But now
all
that
of this,
Baiji had
she
found
was
out
also
about
very
everything.
helpless.
It was impossible to stop
all
her
she
from
could do
going
was to wait
anymore.
for news.
Can I
and
go
hope
with you?
that the other
Bailey
demonic
Hongzhuang
beasts
asked.
would find something.
The three demonic
if they didn't
beasts
find
looked
anything,
at each other,
then
their
Bewitching
eyes filled
and
with
the others were very
and
likely to
confusion.
be in another area.
It's not impossible
with her
for you
strength
to go.
if she
But
rashly
you have
went
to
to that
promise
area.
us a few things.
She was afraid that
Bailey
her days
Hongzhuang
would not
nodded
be
slightly.
easy.
However,
However,
this also
once
made her
you're
even
there,
more worried
you
about
have to listen
Bewitching
to
and
us.
the others.
Don't act
Fox,
on your own.
Is there still no news of my brother and sister?
Sure.
Bailey Hongzhuang
When you
asked.
see them,
The
no
fox
matter
shook
what the
its head.
situation is,
Everyone is
don't
helping
be too
to pay
impulsive,
attention,
and don't
but we
take the
haven't heard
initiative
any
to
news
provoke
yet.
them.
Don't
All right.
worry. If
As
you
long
really
as they
can't
are in our
save him,
area,
you have to
once
come
other
back with
demonic
us
beasts
first.
find them,
We can discuss
they will
everything
definitely
at
be
length.
sent over.
No problem.
I hope so.
The three
Bailey
demonic
Hongzhuang
beasts
sighed.
They had
Now
always
that she
felt
had a lot
that
of
if they made
fruits,
such a request,
she might as well eat
the white
more
guy
to
would
increase
most
her
likely not
cultivation.
agree.
After Bailey Hongzhuang moved out of the cave, the three monstrous beasts also moved all the fruits to
Chapter
this side.
69:18.
At the same time,
Why are you
there
all
were
looking
more
at
and
me
more
like
demonic
that?
beasts making
Bailey
clothes,
Hongzhuang looked at
and
the
there were
three
more and
demon
more
beasts
fruits
in
in the
confusion.
She had already agreed to
Bailey
everything she
Hongzhuang
could,
quietly placed
but the way
fruits
these three
that had
fellows
been
were
delivered
looking at
earlier
her
was
into
even
her
more
primordial
strange.
chaos ring.
Little Bai, you've
Although
agreed
these
so
fruits
easily.
could be stored
You're
for a
making
long
us a little
time,
nervous.
they would eventually
The lion
spoil.
spoke out its inner
However,
thoughts.
it would
Based
be
on the
different
little
if the
Bai's
fruit was
usual
placed in the
stubbornness.
chaos ring.
Once she saw
the
her
fruit could
family,
be stored forever.
she would definitely
and
think
time
of
would
ways
stop
to bring them over.
Therefore, every
Bailey
time a new fruit
Hongzhuang
appeared,
finally understood.
she would put the old
She
one
smiled
back.
and said, Fox
Don't
and the
worry,
others were
I'm not
originally
stupid.
worried that the
If
cave
I were
would
to
not
snatch
be
them
enough,
away directly,
and wondered if they
it would
should stop
definitely
for a
cause
while.
a lot of trouble.
However,
I don't want
after
to implicate
discovering
you.
that Bailey Hongzhuang's
These were her
cave
true
had
thoughts.
not been filled,
The
they
three
were
demon
relieved.
beasts had always
In his
helped her a
heart,
lot.
he was secretly
so
impressed.
she naturally did not
White
want
and
to
Little
implicate
White
them.
must have been scared
She would
of
have to leave
starvation.
sooner or later.
Now that there were fruits
but the
to
three
eat,
demon beasts
their
would always
appetite was
live here,
extremely shocking.
so she could not leave them with too much trouble. Sob, sob, sob.
Chapter
I really didn't think that
69:03.
you would be so
Bailey
sensible.
Hongzhuang and
the
Xiao
fox
He
looked
ate
at
as
Bailey
much as they could in
Hongzhuang
order
full
to
of
increase
emotion.
their strength.
His appearance
as soon
was
as
so
possible,
moving that he
so
almost
that they
shed
could
2
search
lines
for
of
tears.
Bewitching and the rest.
I think so too.
Fortunately,
does this count
the
as
energy
the child
contained in
finally
these
growing
fruits
up?
was mostly pure
Rock also
elemental
looked like
energy.
it was about to cry.
Otherwise,
She was
Bailey
actually thinking for
Hongzhuang's
them.
body would be close
Stop,
to
stop.
Xiao Hei's.
Bailey
If she
Hongzhuang
continued
quickly
to eat
called
like
out.
this.
These
Every
fellows
day,
were really too
there would
emotional.
be demonic beasts
If she did
bringing
not
fruits
hurry
to
and
make
stop
clothes,
them,
and Bailey
she did not know
Hongzhuang
what would
handed over
happen
the
next.
task of making
Rock
clothes
sob.
to Xiao He.
I knew you'd be
This
shy.
fellow was not
Bailey
interested in
Hongzhuang.
self-cultivation
You're
anyway.
thinking too much.
She was more interested
After
in
returning
eating.
to the cave,
Now that she
Xiao
had such
He could not
confidence,
help but speak up.
she might as well
It had
not
almost
cultivate
suffocated
anymore.
to death just
Bailey
now.
Hongzhuang used the
Master,
fruits to
if we
cultivate,
really don't have the
and her
chance to bring
cultivation
them
level
back
was
after we go
constantly
there.
increasing.
What should we do?
She could clearly feel
If there's
her
really no
elemental
other
energy
way,
increasing.
then we can only
because
bring
the
them
elemental
into the
energy
chaos
in
ring.
these fruits was
Bailey
pure enough.
Hongzhuang looked thoughtful.
She did not need to
According
refine
to
too
the
much.
fox and the rest
Hence,
description.
Everything was very easy.
She had a certain
there were not many
understanding
fruits
of the
that
demon
could fit in
beast
her
on
stomach.
the other side of the
She
river.
only ate the fruits
From these
that had the best
circumstances,
effect on
she
increasing
was
her
almost certain
elemental
that if
energy.
Bewitching and the
three
others
demonic
were living on the
beasts
other
also
side
felt
of the
that
river,
Bailey Hongzhuang's
their
current
situation
strength
would
was
definitely
a little too
not
weak.
be as leisurely
Once she
as she was
encountered
now.
other demonic
Perhaps
beasts,
they might even be
she
enslaved
would not even
as
have the
coolies.
ability to
That was
protect
because
herself.
the life of the demonic
Hence, they
beast,
specially
there
told
was
her
not
what
as
kind of
comfortable
fruits to eat
as
to
to
demonic
increase her
beasts
strength.
here.
Because
They
of
revered
this,
strength,
Bailey
and would
Hongzhuang's
often engage
impression
in
of
fights.
these three demonic
Bewitching
beasts
and the
gradually
others had not
improved.
broken through
She
to the
also
elementary
understood that although
celestial
these
stage.
three fellows
In
always
terms of
thought
strength,
that they were very
they were
smart,
definitely no match
they were
for the
actually
demonic
simple
beasts.
and gullible.
So one
Ever
could
since
imagine
she had
the
arrived,
situation.
these three
Xiaohe
fellows
frowned.
had never suspected
Then are we
her
going
origins.
to reveal the secret
On the
of the chaos
contrary,
ring to Qin
they had
Shuai
always
and the
tried their
others?
best to help
Bailey
her.
Hongzhuang
Of course,
It's best not to standing at the door and bad-mouthing her every time. If we don't let them know, on this day, the chances of this generation coming back are very slim. Xiaohei rushed in from outside. Who said that? Master, bad news. Xiaohei. Bailey Hongzhuang opened her eyes. What do you mean by that? What happened? I was just about to pass the finished clothes Bailey to the fox and the rest. Can't you just knock them out and bring them in? I heard their conversation. It seems that the ape clan has arrived. On the other side of the river, when she heard this, she had not forgotten that she had told the fox and the others that she was going on. Now that an ape had really come, and the others are worried about us? Master, looking at young we have to think about what to do. Otherwise, when we meet also later, found it very funny. That fellow will ruin our show. Maybe that's really the case. What should we do then? If it's really that accurate, anxious, then that's great. If they had the cultivation of the elementary celestial stage, I really can't stand to stay here any longer. They would not have to worry too much. However, they could not even defeat a single demonic beast. If everyone found out that they were lying, they would be in trouble. It's one thing for these guys to treat us like gorillas, heart calmed down, but they even called the beasts on the other side of the river to come and see us. It was impossible to avoid it. They're simply unforgivable. Young Lingfeng was completely speechless. She had heard from the fox what he had heard from the beast lived far away from them. It seemed like no humans had ever appeared in this place before. She was sure that they must have run away from home. So when they were discovered, she was not sure how far away this was. But from the fox and the rest's lack of understanding of the ape tribe, the beasts in this area could tell that it must be quite far away. Not only that, the ape tribe had suddenly appeared here at a time like this, not because they must have wanted to see her true face, but because they had never seen them like this before. They would not use them to show off. Xiaohei immediately told her after showing off in this area. They were now going to show off in another area. Speaking of which, it's strange. A series of footsteps slowly came in from outside. Since we've encountered such a situation, it's very likely that their situation is very similar. Hearing this voice, why haven't we heard any news of humans from other places? These guys were moving too fast. Young Qinshua's face was full of doubt. To think of a countermeasure. Her feelings were very complicated. Bailey on one hand, leisurely voice had already spread news to confirm the safety of Bewitching and the others. Calm at times on the other hand, otherwise, she did not want if they were to be seen because the situation everything would be even more suspicious. Could it be that they were lucky and did not encounter these brother apes? The white fellow is inside. Even young Lingfeng himself felt that it was impossible. Recently, this area was almost hearing rumors that the ape clan was here to make clothes for at intervals. When he first heard this news, was transported he had no doubt that there was a problem. There was no possibility the ape clan didn't even have clothes not encounter other beasts. Why would they come here to make clothes for other demon beasts? Young Lingfeng's expression changed. If it was just one or two people saying it, the two of us are too stupid. It wouldn't have believed them. So we're being treated like this by these more and more demon beasts mention this matter. She was originally something was wrong. Bewitching and the others were in danger. That someone else after had hearing the name of the ape clan to come her worries dissipated. It wanted to see what this guy was up to. And the others were very smart. Had intended to no matter what kind of situation they encountered, but it did have the ability to turn danger into safety. Fox, the more why did you make the thought about it? Demon ape the more he felt that his thoughts were correct. The lion's face was full of dissatisfaction. There must be something wrong with the way the two of us handled the situation. Maybe she's happy every day. And the others have already become one with the demonic beast. To take the white fellow away. Only the two of us are so stupid that we ended up in this situation. The Rock was also very depressed. If that's really the case, there's anything good about the ape clan. And the others should know that fellow is happier here with the appearance of human spreads. Think about it. How hungry was the white fellow before this? This was a good opportunity. If she goes to the ape clan, rescue them. Who knows how she'll be bullied? Wouldn't that be too embarrassing for us? The fox looked at the lion and Rock looked hesitant. No matter what, I don't want to older than Bewitching and the others. But didn't you hear what the white fellow said? He still remembered that before they set off, her brother and sister. They had vowed to take good care of Bewitching. I think that we haven't heard any news about her brother and sister for so long. To save them. Maybe they've returned to the ape clan. Flashed across young Qinshua's face. The Rock was a little hesitant. The white fellow's look of anticipation we can do about before was not fake. It's better to embarrass ourselves than to continue staying here. If they're in the ape clan, the only thing she was thankful for now that they don't want to be with the white fellow. Did not come with them to train. Then what's the point of going back? Otherwise, the fox once she saw the lion's gloomy expression and said with a smile, she would not have the face to see anyone in the future. As long as the white one doesn't want to go, young Lingfeng no one can take her away. And a hint of seriousness appeared on his face. Thought she would see the fox in the next second, but she suddenly cried out with a long face. Looking at the ape in front of her, hurry up and save us. She recognized its species at first glance. It was a long-armed demon ape. This fellow was at least 3 meters tall. Chapter 69, standing in front of this long-armed devil ape. Ever since the long-armed demon ape was taught a harsh lesson, when the long-armed demonic ape saw Bailey belly full of anger, there was a trace of astonishment. Everything he said was the truth. This guy was white and clean. For that human to frame him with a groundless to the ape tribe, he was too young. But those idiots believed it.
and even
not
beat
only
him up
that,
to the point
but other
where
than
he
her
was
head,
severely injured
there was no
because
other
of
hair
her.
on her body.
Its injuries were
She
too
didn't belong
serious
to the ape race at
even
all.
with its recovery ability.
The long-armed
It had
demon
only
ape's
gradually
face
returned
recovered
cold.
after returning
You're not
for
even
so
a
long.
member of our ape
It
clan.
still needed some
Why are
time
you
to
pretending to
recuperate
be one?
before it could fully recover.
The fox and the other
It had been
monsters
thinking
who had
about
rushed
how it
over
could turn
were
the
also
tables
stunned.
that
When they
white
heard the
fellow was too
long-armed
cunning.
demon ape's
But
words.
until now,
Brother
it
Ape,
still could
you
not
can't
figure
spout
out how the
nonsense
other
like
party
that.
knew its name.
That white guy
If
is
it
a
couldn't
branch of your
explain
ape
this
clan,
point, Fox
then no
said,
one would believe it at all. Even if it went there again, its ending would be even worse than this time. Until it heard the news of the human race on the other side of the river. The long-armed devil ape finally felt that its anger had subsided. White fellow, I'd like to see how you're going to quibble this time. Ever since she had agreed to the three demonic beasts' request, Bailey Hongzhuang had successfully joined the team, heading to the other side of the river. Following by the side of the three demonic beasts, this was the first time she had truly gone on a long journey. Previously, her range of activity was limited to the area near the cave. She had never been to places further away. Fortunately, now that she had become familiar with these demonic beasts through the clothes and delicious food, coupled with the fact that the fox and the other two demonic beasts were quite popular, everyone's attitude towards her was more cordial. Along the way, they crossed mountains and streams. Bailey Hongzhuang realized that the environment of this place was much more beautiful than she had imagined. The place where she lived was mostly green. Along the way, she had even passed by a sea of flowers. This kind of naturally formed sea of flowers was simply too spectacular. It was like a fairyland. Nothing more beautiful could be imagined. The fox and the other two demonic beasts originally did not have any feelings towards this kind of scenery. But after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang and Xiao Hei's amazed expressions, they suddenly felt that it was very interesting. White fellow, one look and I can tell that you haven't been to this place before. That's why you're so curious about everything here. The fox smiled. If you like it here, we can come here often in the future. Anyway, this is the residence of the lion's good friend, the water-cloud rhinoceros. You won't mind if we stay here for a while. Shui Yunqi, who was not far away, nodded after hearing this. No problem, you can stay as long as you want. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a warm smile. If possible, she really felt that living here would be excellent. Master, since the cultivation speed here is faster than in the realm of chaos, why don't we stay here for a while? At the very least, it won't be too late to return after we've broken through to the elementary celestial stage. Xiao Hei's eyes shone brightly. It really felt that this place was too good. Cultivators had a long lifespan. In the chaotic immortal realm, it would definitely take more time to break through to the elementary immortal realm. Bailey Hongzhuang also fell into deep thought. She also felt that this idea was very good. Let's discuss this matter after we find Bewitching. Chapter 69-21. She's never seen the world. Bailey Hongzhuang heard the main point in the lion's words. So, she was being despised for looking like she was enjoying the beautiful scenery. The fox frowned. Lion, you should at least be more tactful with your words. This white fellow is still young, and she's never left the house before. It's normal that she's never seen the world. The rock nodded. How can we lower ourselves to the level of a little demon beast? Little demon beasts have never seen the world in the first place. Bailey Hongzhuang. Did he have to keep emphasizing the word never seen the world? The three demon beasts had always been loud. After hearing the lion's words, the other demon beasts around them looked curious. This white fellow has never seen the world. You should just bring her out to see it more often in the future. Bailey Hongzhuang was speechless. Don't worry, it won't happen when I'm there. The lion also realized that his words were not very appropriate. His face flashed what he thought was a kind smile. Unfortunately, his exposed teeth looked even more frightening. White fellow, don't take it to heart. We've never seen the world before. That's enough. Bailey Hongzhuang turned her head away. This fellow might as well not explain himself. The more he tried to explain, the more he made things worse. After hurrying on for several days, Bailey Hongzhuang finally arrived at the river that separated the two territories. The river was very wide, and the demon beasts looked unusually small in the face of such a river. Bailey Hongzhuang could only see the figures of demon beasts on the opposite side of the river. The other party had obviously noticed them as well. Why aren't the apes here yet? The fox looked around. Could it be that the long-armed demon ape is holding a grudge after being taught a lesson by us? Impossible. Although the long-armed demon ape is rather popular in the ape clan, its status is not that high. This is about the Holy Spirit fruit. It would be strange if they didn't come. The lion's face was full of disdain. Now that he thought about the long-armed demon ape's actions, he could not help but feel disgusted. Bailey Hongzhuang also looked around and couldn't help but feel a little worried. Last time, he had fooled everyone and framed the long-armed demonic ape with a groundless accusation. This time, however, the number of demonic beasts from the ape clan was not small. It would not be easy for her to fool all of these guys. Most importantly, once the apes collectively denied it, how was she going to explain herself? Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but look at the fiery red clothes she was wearing. Fortunately, Fox had suggested that they all wear the same color clothes to show their imposing manner. His only hope now was to reduce his presence. It would be best if he didn't get discovered by the apes. Although the possibility wasn't high. Look, those guys on the other side of the river have appeared. A few days ago, I noticed that they were all wearing red clothes. Today, I saw that they were all wearing red clothes. The bright red color is really beautiful. Where did they get these clothes from? I've never seen it before. The group of demonic beasts stared at the group of fiery red clothes on the other side of the river, and their eyes filled with a thick sense of envy. Even though they were very far away and could not see clearly, they could roughly see that their clothes were really beautiful. We'll ask them when they arrive. If it's possible, I'd like to have one too. Me too. It's really beautiful. Chapter 69-22. Yang Qinxue and Yang Lingfeng were guarded at the side. As they were the two humans who were used to show off today, the beasts watched them very closely. They were worried that if they ran away, they would embarrass themselves in front of the beasts on the other side of the river. Therefore, they were standing by the river and looking at the scene on the other side of the river. Before this, they had clearly heard the beasts say that they would show the beasts on the other side of the river how their strength had increased after so many years. Their words were filled with hostility. However, when a sea of fiery red appeared on the other side of the river, these guys seemed to have forgotten their previous bold words, and all their attention was diverted to the other party's clothes. Aren't you guys too fickle? I finally understand. Although these beasts are very strong, their brain circuits are still very simple. Yang Lingfeng raised his eyebrows. He hadn't paid attention to this point before. He only felt that these demonic beasts were ferocious, and he was worried that he would be cooked and eaten by them if he spoke a word. However, after seeing them today, he felt that these fellows weren't that scary. Beasts are beasts. Their thoughts are naturally not as complicated as humans. Yang Qinshue's eyes revealed a trace of emotion. However, these demonic beasts are quite clever with their hands. I see that the clothes are very fitting. It looks very interesting. Yang Lingfeng chuckled. He had never seen such a scene on a daily basis. The apes are here. One of the beasts suddenly noticed the group in the distance and immediately shouted. Bailey Hongzhuang turned her eyes to the side, only to see a group of people majestically walking over. The apes were also very large in size. Unlike other beasts, they walked on two legs. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the various apes in front of her and sighed in her heart. This time, she had seen all the types of apes. Among them, she realized that other than some of the larger apes, there were also some apes that were not very large. Other than the hair on their faces, they were similar to her. Master, the long-armed demon ape is in the middle. Xiaohei's sharp eyes spotted the long-armed demon ape. It noticed that this fellow was also looking around. It was probably looking for them, so it immediately turned its head. Bailey Hongzhuang quietly glanced over. Sure enough, the long-armed devil ape was wearing an unhappy face. There was even a faint hint of killing intent. Obviously, this guy wanted to turn the tables today. Be careful. It's best not to be noticed by this guy. Bailey Hongzhuang lowered her voice. Today's group could be said to be very large. In addition, many of the demonic beasts were huge in size. She did not attract any attention at all. Long-armed demon ape. Are you looking for the white guy? We're here. As soon as Rock noticed the long-armed demon ape, his fighting spirit was immediately ignited. This guy really made people want to beat him up every time they saw him. This voice immediately attracted the attention of the long-armed demon ape. Then, its gaze landed on Bailey Hongzhuang, who was beside Rock. Bailey Hongzhuang. One should not be afraid of a godlike opponent, but one should be afraid of a pig-like teammate. This sentence was vividly reflected on Rock. Bailey Hongzhuang facepalmed. How could she forget that she had these pig-like teammates? Chapter 69-23. The long-armed demon ape narrowed its eyes as it glared hatefully at Bailey Hongzhuang. This fellow was relying on the protection of the lion and the others, which was why it was so arrogant. It actually dared to bring up the previous incident in front of everyone. It was trying to humiliate it. If it did not avenge itself this time, how could it have the face to be a slut in the future? Many of the apes did not know that the long-armed demon ape had previously clashed with the lion and the others. When they heard the lion and the others' words, they looked at the long-armed demon ape with a strange look in their eyes. What did the long-armed demon ape do? We don't usually go to that territory. It had run over there for no apparent reason. Could it have done something bad? I think that's not impossible. Look at the lion and the others' righteous indignation. It's not a pretense. The long-armed demon ape listened to the discussions around it, and its expression turned unusually ugly. These fellows. Just you wait. The long-armed demon ape gritted its teeth and transmitted its voice. Now is not a good time to explain. It would deal with it when it found a good opportunity. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. She had been worried that the situation would blow up, but now, it seemed that the situation was much better than she had imagined. It could be seen that this fellow's reputation in the ape tribe was not very good. Otherwise, everyone would not have doubted it. Master, the long-armed demon ape is about to die from anger. Xiaohe looked excited. This guy isn't easy to deal with either. We'll have to be careful later. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression sank. If this had been any other time, it would have been fine. However, they were now faced with the problem of rescuing Bewitching and the others. Once the long-armed demon ape found out about her intentions, it would definitely obstruct them. Things would then become very troublesome. What should we do then? Xiaohe also realized that with this fellow obstructing them, the already difficult task would become even more difficult. Let's adapt to the situation. Bailey Hongzhuang spoke slowly. It's best if we can find a way to convict the long-armed demon ape. Since everyone is here, let's go to the other side of the river. The oldest demonic beast in the lead suggested. The other demonic beasts nodded in agreement and set off together. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the wide river in front of her. With her cultivation, it shouldn't be a problem for her to fly across it. But the wind and waves were extremely strong. Just as she was about to set off, the lion suddenly said, "White guy, sit on my back. I'll fly you over." Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled, and then she heard it explain, "Your cultivation is too weak. You won't be able to cross this river." Fox nodded as well. Only if your cultivation level increases a little more will it be possible. With your current cultivation level, you'll be blown away by the wind. Bailey Hongzhuang. After sitting on the lion's back, the lion said, "Hold on to my neck, we're leaving now." Bailey Hongzhuang did not dare to be careless. Although these three fellows were usually unreliable, they were usually more reliable when it came to matters like this. It was only when the lion flew into the sky that Bailey Hongzhuang realized how terrifying the demonic wind on the riverbank was. The shocking wind contained a frightening power. It was no longer just wind, it was as if a huge mountain was attacking. Chapter 69-24. Oh my god, what kind of river is this? Xiaohe hugged Bailey Hongzhuang's neck tightly. It felt as if it was going to be blown away. This kind of wind could probably blow the chaotic immortal realm to pieces. You have to hold on tight. Bailey Hongzhuang reminded Xiaohe. If it was blown away, it would not know where to find it again. I know how to do it. Xiao Hei's voice was dragged out by the wind. It used all its strength in its arms and unleashed its essence power to the maximum. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that even demonic beasts who had broken through to the elementary immortal stage were in a difficult situation when faced with this kind of demonic wind. Only demonic beasts who were more powerful were relatively better off. They were only crossing a river, but Bailey Hongzhuang felt as if a long time had passed. When she landed, she could even feel a gust of wind blowing. Even when she walked, she was still walking at a slanted angle. Are you all right, little Bai? The fox looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with concern. The wind and waves on this river are always so strong. Demonic beasts who are weaker would not come here at this time. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and tidied up her clothes. As for her hairstyle, it was too horrible to look at. When they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, the fox and the others also tidied up. Fortunately, it was easier for them to tidy up their fur. Xiao Hei, how are you? Bailey Hongzhuang turned around. She was slightly stronger than Xiao Hei. Even she could not withstand the wind earlier. Presumably, Xiao Hei's situation was even worse. When she looked, she realized that Xiao Hei's fur had turned into a bird's nest. At this moment, it looked as if there was nothing left to live for. When she got closer, she could hear the little fellows muttering clearly. I fucking ended up like this. I can't even cross a river. Forget it. Bailey Hongzhuang flicked the space between its eyebrows. Why don't you spend more time cultivating? Xiao Hei had a serious look on her face. It seems like I've been eating too little. When Yang Lingfeng noticed a group of demonic beasts crossing the river, his eyes were also filled with deep amazement. Sister, this river doesn't seem to be as calm as we thought. Did you see that? It's not easy for these demonic beasts to cross the river. Yang Qinxue nodded slightly. Logically speaking, the strength of the demonic beasts on both sides should be about the same. If it was so difficult to cross the river with such strength, then it's over. This river is so treacherous. If we don't see Hongzhuang and the others this time, wouldn't it be hopeless for us to cross this river to find them? At this moment, Yang Qinxue suddenly pointed at a lion flying in the sky and said excitedly, Lingfeng, quickly take a look. Is the person on the back of that lion Hongzhuang? Where? Yang Lingfeng immediately raised his head to look. The lion was tall and mighty. It stood out among the group of demonic beasts. Very quickly, he noticed the familiar slim figure. Immediately, his eyes filled with excitement. That's right, it's Hongzhuang. Hongzhuang is here. We might be saved. Yang Qinxue was pleasantly surprised. She had been looking forward to seeing Bewitching and Hongzhuang as soon as possible. Now that she could finally see them, her heart was filled with joy. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.